ESPN Major League Baseball. The finale of our Labor Day triple-header comes from Royal Stadium in Kansas City. The Royals against the Toronto Blue Jays this evening. Welcome to a night in Kansas City when the weather threatens a bit. I'm Bob Carpenter, and the Blue Jays continue their divisional championship chase in the East. A guy who thought he might have a chance to be part of the race in the West, Bobby Valentine. Bobby, nice to have you with us on the crew. And a couple of hours ago, you stepped back on the field for the first time in 6 weeks. How'd you feel?
Well, I felt kind of nervous, to tell you the truth, Bob. I got down there, saw some good friends, saw George Brett, saw Hal and Cito, and the knees shook a little while, but it was a good feeling for me. Since I lost my night job, it's the first time on the field, like you say, and I'd rather be in a different costume, but this one will have to do for now.
And the Toronto Blue Jays doing it for now in the American League East. A check of the pennant race shows that Baltimore still lurks a game and a half back. They're playing right now. Milwaukee a winner today over Cleveland, so they creep to within 5 games out. But, Bobby, there's a difference in this Toronto team this year. They've got Dave Winfield and Jack Morris. As a manager, what does it mean to be able to send a guy like Morris out there every 5th day?
Well, he's the pro. He's the consummate professional, no doubt about that. He gives you everything he has. He goes out there with the good split-finger fastball and slider. But what he does is he does what it takes to get you out, get you to the bullpen, win you a ball game. You know, he's the horse. They're going to jump on his back, no doubt about that. And right now they're riding him.
Well, for years, the Royals have ridden the back of a guy named George Brett. The chase for 3,000 getting a little smaller every day. He's in the lineup tonight as the Royals take on the Blue Jays.
ESPN Major League Baseball is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. And by Wrangler, the most comfortable jeans known to man.
Here in Kansas City for Royals baseball, and tonight a possibly big holiday crowd has been held down a bit by threatening weather, including some tornadoes within a 1 hour radius of Kansas City in the near 50 or 60 mile range or so. So we'll check out the weather and try to get this one started on time. It appears we will, as the Royals host the Blue Jays, who've won 3 consecutive ball games and lead the Baltimore Orioles by a game and a half in the American League Eastern Division. And a check of the Toronto Blue Jays lineup shows that Toronto is 5th in the American League, hitting .266 as a team. They trail only the Tigers in home runs. Devon White, a switch hitter, leads off, followed by Roberto Alomar, one of the best young players in baseball at second base, also a switch hitter. Joe Carter with 100 RBIs in right field, batting 3rd. Having another great year is DH Dave Winfield, a youngster himself, just like Mr. Brett is. John Olerud at first base, batting 5th, followed by Candy Maldonado, the third baseman, batting 7th. Kelly Gruber. Pat Borders is now the everyday catcher. And the shortstop, the veteran playing on an everyday basis now because Manny Lee has a sore knee, is Alfredo Griffin. The weather situation in Kansas City is a very interesting one. It was very hot and muggy in the early part of the afternoon. It has cooled off considerably as the front has moved in, but really the ballpark has received very little of the rain that's been in the area. You can see where they had the tarp on. The infield area is dry. And in the middle of your screen, walking out to the mound, is the Kansas City Royals 28-year-old right-hander Rick Reed, who was a Pittsburgh Pirate when spring training started. They tried to designate him for assignment. He refused to report, became a free agent, and the Royals picked him up. He saw some action at AAA before coming to the big club.
And here in September, Bob, he's trying to impress. He's a 28-year-old. He's had his time in the minor leagues. He wants to put that behind him and impress Hal McRae and the staff enough to get onto that 40-man roster over the wintertime, be protected from the expansion draft, and make this Royal staff for 1992 and 1993.
And with the problems Mark Gubicza is having, there might be an opening or two for right-handers on this ball club.
Exactly, and pitching is so scarce in the major leagues. If he impresses, and there's not room with the Royals, there's enough of scouts and other eyes watching him here in September to give him a spot next year.
Royals have struggled a little bit defensively this year as they've moved some people around and injuries have been a factor. Kevin McReynolds back in the lineup less than a week in left field. Brian McRae and a rookie, Kevin Kozlowski, out in right field. Greg Jeffries, the former Met. Wally Joyner, the former Angel, at the corners. David Howard is back with the big club playing short. Curtis Wilkerson, Bobby Valentine's former utility man in Texas, out at second base. Brent Maine is the catcher, and Reed, of course, is on the mound. Royals are 14 games under 500, but Bobby, really They've been a better club than that this year after that horrendous 1-16 start. They've held their own since late April.
Exactly. First 3 weeks of the season put them in a hole. 1-16 is tough to overcome as far as winning pennants, as was predicted before the season started. But they kept their head above water. Leaders like George Brett and Hal McRae kept this team going. And since then, they've played a little better than 500 baseball in a real tough division.
Tough it has been. Oakland defeated today. So they're down to a 4.5 game lead over Minnesota. 4-2 winners at home over Seattle. We're about ready for this one as Rick Reed throws to Devon White, and a fastball on the inside corner. Devon White not hitting for much average again. The on-base average is mediocre, but the power numbers and the stolen base numbers are good.
He really doesn't get on as much as you want a leadoff hitter to get on base, Bob, but when he does, he makes it happen. The most graceful runner in all of baseball, excites everyone, and on this AstroTurf and the AstroTurf at home, there's strike two. He's a very, very exciting player.
Good breaking ball by Rick Reed, who throws a fastball, curve, slider, and a straight change. Not a pitcher who possesses great stuff. He has to move the ball around and be fine to be a winner. And he had Devon White late on that high outside fastball. Bobby, is the Toronto Blue Jay lineup the best in baseball? Some have said that this year, and you're a guy who managed against them quite a bit the last 7 years.
Well, they're very well balanced, Bob, and when you add Dave Winfield having a plus year this year in the middle of that lineup, I think they do rank right up there. They beat you with speed, they beat you with the home run, they have the extra base power, and right from start to finish, they can hit that double, which usually scores the man from first.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Breaking ball stays up and away. 2-2.
Well, with Devon White right now, you want to get this pitch over the plate, because if you miss on 2-2 and have to go 3-2, he's narrowed down to a fastball, and he's a very good fastball hitter. He'll do some damage. So this is a pitch of reckoning right here, first batter of the game.
And Reed went right after him, but it was fouled over to the right side. Bob Baylor, the Toronto coach over there. Rich Hacker, former Whitey Herzog protege in St. Louis, over on the left side. Kansas City Royals with a pretty good home record. They're 6 games over 500 here. They're in the 7th of 10 on this homestand. They've won 3 and lost 4. They've really struggled on the road. Devon White stopped. He did not go around, says Gary Cederstrom out at third base, so it goes to that 3-2 count.
And you're narrowed down to a fastball, and he's going to put this ball in play. He'd rather hit than walk.
He'll hit it, and center field here is a graveyard for fly balls, especially with one of the best young center fielders out there, Brian McRae, and that's the first out of the ball game.
The second baseman, number 12, Valentine.
When you were with the Rangers in a ballpark that's good for power and a good place to hit home runs, and your club came up here, did you have to manage any differently in a spacious yard like this?
Well, we were fortunate that our balls, when they were hit, even went out of the spacious confines of a park like Kansas City. But you have to manage a little differently on defense, because those gappers, the line drives, as he goes ball 1 to Alomar here, the line drives are extra bases, and the tricky corners down there sometimes are 4 bases.
On 1-0, Alomar pulls the ball, hits it right to Curtis Wilkerson, 2 down. I know there's a guy, a young man Wilkerson, who's very fond as far as Bobby Valentine is concerned. He did a great job for you in Texas, and he's still hanging around.
Yeah, and he's doing more than hanging around this year, Bob. He's having an excellent season. He's lost some weight. He's playing hard. Sitting 270, second on the team in stolen bases, and I'm really happy for Curtis. He's one of a long list of ex-players that I pull for every day when I look in the paper, and I know when he looks up here, he'd rather see me in uniform, too. He's pulling for me.
Bases empty, 2 outs. Joe Carter, he went hacking, might have busted his bat on an inside fastball. I've got to tell you folks watching in Texas tonight that when Bobby and I were down in the batting cage before the game and Curtis came by and said hello, Bobby kind of looked at me, tongue-in-cheek, of course, and said, see, a lot of my ex-players like me.
Exactly so. And You know, it's good to see Curtis's smile, and his wife Brenda was a treat to have. And right now, I told him this is like a salary drive for him. He was signed as a free agent and someone that people thought was washed up. Right now, he's got to go strong the next 3 weeks and get himself a job for the next few years.
Well, Joe Carter will have one for a number of years to come. Another big season. 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. The home run total, third best in the league. The RBI total is second only to the 108 of Cecil Fielder. They are the only two at the century mark, although Juan Gonzalez and George Bell will be there very shortly. Gonzalez 98, Bell 97. And there's Dave Winfield, who's on deck. Reed wasting one, low and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Joe Carter is as much of a run producer for a free swinger as anybody, I think, in recent history. He gets his 100 RBIs. He drives the ball and he swings at everything.
This one is a mile high down the line. McReynolds chasing it, and he will call off David Howard. That ball started like it was going into the seats foul, came back fair, and the Blue Jays go in order in the first. Up, and the Kansas City Royals to the plate after the Blue Jays went in order in the top of the first inning. Kansas City tied with the Yankees, 8th in the league in hitting at 260, and they are dead last in home runs with 66. Only the Red Sox have hit more with 69 on the year. Let's check the Kansas City lineup as they take on Jack Morris and the Toronto Blue Jays here this evening. A talented switch hitter is up at the top of the lineup. Third baseman Greg Jeffries, Curtis Wilkerson, and that number 2 hole, also a switch hitter, followed by George Brett and Wally Joyner, the cleanup man. Kevin McReynolds back in there since last Friday. Brett Main batting 7th. Kevin Kozlowski, the rookie, batting in that number 7 hole in right field. Brian McRae 8th, and followed by shortstop David Howard. On the mound for the Blue Jays, 37-year-old Jack Morris, who is 18-5, and he's trying for his 5th consecutive win here tonight.
And he's giving you the innings once again. You know, it's a game of adjustments, this game of baseball. And a few years ago when Jack was with Detroit, he gave up an awful lot of home runs. One of the main reasons was he was giving his pitches away. You could see when he went in for the forkball in his glove, it would get bigger. So what did he do? He made an adjustment. He got a bigger glove. And now he has probably one of the biggest gloves in all of baseball, but there's no chance of ever picking up the pitches. And he's been extremely successful since.
Jack Morris will go over 200 innings again with his outing tonight, unless he has a nightmare. He's at 195 2/3. He's averaged 242 innings a year since 1979. An amazing statistic in this day and age of sometimes fragile starting pitchers.
And at the top of the show, I said he was the horse, and they're down the stretch, and you have to get on a guy like this because he's out there to do one thing, and that is to win, and he knows how to do it.
Greg Jeffries of the Royals has been in the leadoff spot since about the end of July. His first 2 ball games, he went 6 for 9, and he's been hot ever since, as his batting mark up almost to 300. Great eye at the plate. He has an on-base average of 432. Kelly Gruber got a new glove, and he'll settle in at third base with a count of 1-1 on Greg Jeffries. He hits it hard on one hop out to Alfredo Griffin, 1 out. Nice to have a guy like Alfredo around when your regular shortstop can't play every day.
And he's extremely steady. He's not going to give you the offense that Manny Lee's going to give you, but he's going to catch everything that he can get to and be in the right place at the right time.
He's up the middle with Alomar, Gruber, and Olerud at the corners. Borders behind the plate. In the outfield, Maldonado, Devon White, Joe Carter for the Toronto Blue Jays. With 1 out, Jack Morris faces Curtis Wilkerson. And he said, Bobby, if you're going to say something about me tonight, you better say it fast because I'm swinging at the first pitch.
No doubt about that. Curtis is a fastball hitter, and Hal's using him correctly. He has him behind his number 1 hitter and in front of George, hoping that Jack will give him a fastball or two. Put him on a breaking ball diet and he'll lose more weight than he lost this winter, but he can hit that number 1.
Fastball up and away, a ball and a strike, and that's to his advantage because he's a little guy who won't hit many home runs, so pitchers will challenge him and say, here it is. They don't want to walk him. He's second on the club in steals right now to Greg Jeffries.
Exactly. And there's a little bit of an overmatch on the breaking ball, down and in, and Jack Morris could do that to a lot of hitters.
A ball and 2 strikes to the number 2 man. George Brett is on deck. Wilkerson, a tough guy to strike out, fouling one off to the left side. Jack has cut down his home runs yielded a bit, 17 this year in 196 innings, so he only gives up a little less than 1 a game. And on 1 and 2, looked like a fork ball that just did stay up high. Wilkerson with an 8-game hitting streak. He's 13 for his last 28. A .415 hitter since the end of July. Whoa, right back from where it came. Wilkerson hit the ball hard, and he's aboard with 1 out.
Curtis shortened up on a stroke a little there and hit the ball back up the middle. That's a nice piece of hitting. Hitting .415, no matter how many at-bats you have, means you're seeing the ball well, you're staying on it, and now he's on first base for everyone's favorite, including mine, Bob, George Brett.
George Brett with only 23 hits to go for 3,000. Curtis Wilkerson aboard with 1 out. George is number 19 all-time on the hit list, and he says it's getting a little nerve-wracking now because every time he comes up to the on-deck circle, fans behind him are saying, 23, George, 22. The countdown is on. It's really been going on ever since he was about 40 hits away, he says.
And I'd love to see him get them all in one night. George is one of the guys, he earns his money. He's a fan favorite. Every player on the opposite teams respects him as much as his teammates do. I think everyone's pulling for him, and he'll get his 3,000. I hope it's real soon.
He had a big month of August, hitting .304 with 11 multi-hit games. And the thing that did for George was not only pile up the hits a little bit, but that meant that down the stretch, to reach 3,000 on the basis of 4 at-bats a day, and that shouldn't be a problem because he's DHing a lot, he only needed to hit .225 to make it. This guy is a career .302 hitter in September and October. So he should be able to hit .225 down the stretch, swinging with 1 hand.
I think he's capable. Again, it's all those outside pressures, but this is the money player. The reason he's hit better at the end of the season than at the beginning, because that's when it's on the line. And George Brett's going to walk into the Hall of Fame holding his head up high, knowing that each and every day he came out, he had a good time, and he gave it his all.
2 balls and no strikes. Wilkerson running. Brett a bouncer. There's a base hit. Wilkerson over to third base, and that's number 2,978.
I think it was a straight steal, Bob, with Curtis going and George pulling the ball. The shortstop's covering, figuring he's going to be out in front of the ball, and the AstroTurf helped a bit here. Roberto Alomar is holding his ground, but he still can't get to his left enough to make the play. It's first and third and 1 out, and the Royals are in a nice little position here.
Runners at the corners. Wally Joyner, the hitter, with 1 out. This is what teams have been doing a bit to Jack Morris. He's been giving up some early runs. He has a habit giving up 2 or 3 early runs and then shutting the door. Up the middle, Wally Joyner has an RBI base hit. George Brett will head for third. Devon White will not throw. 3 consecutive singles. 1-0 Kansas City.
And you're right again, Bob. It's that 1 inning that's been hurting Jack Morris lately. He's had it early, and then he's settled down. Talking to Rich Hacker before the game, he's had trouble doing that big play. There's Wally getting the hit up the middle on the fastball away. Just being consistent from inning 1 through 8 or 9 whenever he's in there. And right now he's in big trouble. He's got to settle down. He's got to get to his breaking ball. They're jumping on that fastball and putting it in play on the turf.
That was a pretty good piece of base running by George Brett as well, going to third. I thought he might stop, but with the wet conditions in the outfield, outfielders have to toe the line a little carefully out there, and with Devon White not charging 100%, George got over to third base. That sets things up for Kevin McReynolds. Joyner is running, and McReynolds pops it straight up in front of the mound. John Olerud calls it, and that's the second out.
I thought that was a great bit of base running by George, but not only because of the wet grounds, because he deeped Devon White a little. He slowed up coming around second base. He waited for Devon to look up and see him slow down, and then as White looked down to pick up the ball, George took off. Great veteran play. You don't teach that. You have to do it a few times to know what you're doing, and once again, George knows what he's doing.
He's rounded second base a few thousand times.
You bet he has.
Here's Brent Maine, the catcher, the number 6 man. So McReynolds failing in the RBI situation with less than 2 outs, and that can come back to haunt you against Jack Morris, who gets a strike to the Royals catcher, a .244 hitter.
And you got to think that Hal's just trying to get another quick run and putting a hit and run on. You wouldn't be stealing with Joyner, and hoping to get a ground ball. A ground ball with men on first and third and 1 out will get you the run in from third, and that would make it 2-0 and a nice way to start. Even though Wally looked like he was cheating there and trying to get a jump on Jack.
Olerud holding. Royals have stolen 113 bases this year. They're much more suited to speed than they are to power. Pretty much the way you have to play in these Missouri ballparks. The guys down the road in St. Louis have done it pretty much the same way over the years. And now Jack Morris has Brent Maine in the hole. No balls, 2 strikes.
You see Pat Borders goes out in front of home plate and signals to the infield what they're going to do if Joyner does go. If they're going to hold the ball, throw it to third, throw it back to the pitcher, throw it through to second base. Joyner will be stopping before he gets to second if he does go.
Maine offered at it, appealed down to third, and no swing, says Gary Cedarstrom.
With a little help from George Brett, assist on the call. Gary looks to George and agrees, of course.
Brent Maine has split catching and playing time this year with Mike McFarland. No real clear-cut number 1 on the Royals staff. He got fisted a little bit, hit it back to the screen. McFarland has been in 109 ball games, Maine in 69. Cito Gaston with Gene Tennis, Galen Cisco, his pitching coach.
And in speaking with Adrian Garrett before the game, he thought that Maine was a very smart hitter at the plate. Let's see if he goes to left field on this. Here goes Wally.
This one is well hit to right field. It backs up Joe Carter, and about 370 feet away, he takes it for the out. But the Royals put 3 singles together, including George Brett's big hit and Wally Joyner's RBI single after one at Royal Stadium. KC 1-0. Today, Bob Carpenter and Bobby Valentine with you tonight on ESPN, the finale of our Labor Day baseball triple-header. Royals on top 1-0. After 1 inning of play, it'll be Dave Winfield, John Olerud, and Candy Maldonado for the Blue Jays in the top of the 2nd inning. Bobby, of course, tonight is Jose Canseco's first game at home in a Texas Ranger uniform, and I'm sure folks down there tuned in tonight are eager to hear your thoughts on the Canseco deal with the Rangers that sent Bobby Witt, Jeff Russell, and Ruben Sierra out to the Oakland Athletics.
Well, you used the right term, Bob. Deal it was, in that it couldn't be a trade this late in the season. Oakland got more value, but when you're talking about Russell and Sierra being free agents, you're giving up Bobby Witt basically and 4 draft choices for Jose Canseco. And if he's healthy, it'll be a good deal.
And how about this guy in terms of longevity? Dave Winfield, the DH. Another big season. He's just on the fringe of the top 10 in the league in home runs and RBIs. In fact, 3 players are tied with 23 home runs, and 2 players are tied with 91 RBIs to round out that top 10. So Winfield has done what Toronto wanted him to do when they picked him up. And he takes a 2-0 fastball in there.
And Bob, you hear so much these days about overpaid players, but you have 3 cases tonight in Jack Morris, George Brett, and Dave Winfield, all of whom earn every dollar that they make, a true credit to their profession, and potential Hall of Famers. Probably with Winfield taking the ball there, you'll see this guy's name on the list and inducted someday, because he's put season after season together of Hall of Fame quality.
3 balls and a strike. Reed challenges him with a fastball. It's into right field. And unable to make the play on a fly is Kozlowski. Winfield going for 2. He will be out at second base. Kozlowski might have missed the tag the first time. Winfield might have missed the bag, but he was out on a 9-6 play trying to stretch a single into 2 bases.
And there's the veteran of 40 years. He's 40 years old. He sees the rookie play the ball back and tries to take advantage with no outs. He's diving in the second base, giving everything that he has. He overslid the base and he is out, but it's an all-out hustle from Dave Winfield once again, and that's what he's been known for his entire career. He earns his money.
And a good throw after the recovery by Kevin Kozlowski in right field. John Olerud will be the hitter. Kozlowski came up to the Royals on the 25th of June after 8.5 years in the minor leagues.
And in those 8.5 years, he learned how to play. He has impressed the major league coaches here at the major league level as being a guy who plays good defense, knows how to handle the bat, can run the bases, and probably help you win at this level.
0-2 to Olerud. He fouls one off to the left side. Royals, despite their problems this year on the field, are having another good season at the gate. They've drawn almost 1.6 million, an average of 24,000. They're very loyal here. Great baseball fans ever since 1969 when this franchise was born. And there's a fastball on the inside corner to John Olerud. Here's an update from John Saunders.
Well, the team that Toronto's trying to hold off the Orioles, and that's Melito Perez of the Yankees, facing Leo Gomez, who hits his 17th home run of the year to tie the game 2-2 in the ninth. Back to you.
Well, that's a big swing, John, and that keeps them in a chance to be a half game out at the end of the evening. Baltimore certainly in good striking distance, only a game and a half out entering Labor Day. Bases empty, 2 outs. Candy Maldonado, the hitter. And an off-speed breaking ball is low and away. A solid season for the former National Leaguer.
And another one of those steals at the free agent table.
A little pop fly out into right center. Kozlowski had trouble with it in the twilight, and then he found it and had plenty of time to get there. So Winfield leads off with a single, but it turns into a 1-2-3 inning. Royals 1-0 in the second. College football season in full swing on ESPN. Major League Baseball still the same. And we go to the bottom of the second. Kevin Kozlowski leading off, hitting it hard to center, but just loping his way back. And there's that graceful running Bobby talked about. Devon White for the first out.
And he got an excellent jump on a line drive hit straight at him, which is the toughest ball for any outfielder, especially a center fielder. But he just took that stride and went back and caught it. The only way you get it over his head is to clear the fence, too.
So Jack Morris has now retired the last 3 after giving up the 3 base hits. Brian McRae up there for the Royals. McRae, a switch hitter, 215 from the left side, 223 overall. Still learning how to handle major league pitching. He certainly knows how to handle himself in center field.
He is a good defensive player, Bob, and one of the disappointments offensively, though, for the Royals team, never has gotten on track. He's changed his stance. This is probably the 10th stance that I've seen him with this year, and it's got to be difficult with his dad being the manager and a guru on hitting, and Adrian Garrett being his hitting coach. It's probably been a little confusing with him, and luckily he's still young and has time to figure it out.
There's that Jack Morris changeup, and we put an exclamation point behind that term because nobody changes speeds more dramatically from a fastball to a changeup than Jack Morris. It's got to be about a 20-mile-an-hour difference.
It's off the gun, whatever it is.
And he comes back with a hard forkball and gets the strikeout, his first of the game. 2 outs and back to John Saunders.
Well, of course, the other team chasing the Blue Jays, the Milwaukee Brewers, facing the Indians today. Robin Yount helping the cause here with single number 2,998 as Eldred pitches the shutout. 2-0 the final. Back to Bob and Bob.
Thank you, John Saunders. And Bobby, you and I were talking about this afternoon. Robin Yount and George Brett might be the last two players we ever see have that kind of career with one ball club. Let's talk about that next inning after Olerud takes care on the first swing by David Howard, and after two here in Kansas City. Royals have out hit the Jays 3-1 and lead 1-0. Coming up on ESPN, Tuesday Night Baseball tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 in the Coast. Cubs in action in the opener, and then the Padres and the Giants. Gary Sheffield having a triple crown type season. Great Will Clark at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on ESPN. That's our regular Tuesday night doubleheader. A little bonus coverage for you today here on Labor Day, our triple header, and it wraps up here in Kansas City tonight. Top of the third, Kelly Gruber for the Blue Jays. From Royal Stadium, Bob Carpenter with former Ranger manager Bobby Valentine joining us tonight. And a strike to Kelly Gruber, who's had some RBI droughts this year, 37 on the season. He's hitting just .230. He's been bothered by some injuries. And a breaking ball low and outside.
When you're talking about the bargains, as far as the dollars are concerned, this is one of the busts as far as the Blue Jays are concerned. Kelly just has not produced like he should, and they need him in order to win the World Series.
He got fisted into the outfield, and David Howard can't reach it. Well, Gruber will take some of those. He's had a tough year. He's been bothered by a sore knee and a stiff neck. And he just got that one over the glove of David Howard, who did all he could.
The catcher, number 10.
Ball's inside. He gets jammed, and Kelly used to hit that ball out of the ballpark. Howard makes a great try. He had a good jump. The ball just went too far for the length of his arm. And now Kelly's on first. They have to make something happen here in the bottom of their order. He can steal bases, and Borders can hit and run. You can't look for Griffin to drive many runs in. So let it happen right here with the 1-2 men in this inning.
Curtis Wilkerson really cheating toward the bag. He's bunting for a hit. Jeffries charging, safe at first base. So Pat Borders with Jeffries a bit back, laid one down, and that's about as well as you can do on the artificial surface.
That's a fine play by Pat Borders. That's making it happen, getting the two guys on base for Griffin to now handle that bat. He's an excellent bunter. He works that butcher boy. Jeffries comes in here. He has to field this ball off his left foot in order to have a chance. He fielded it off his right foot, took the 2 extra steps, and that was the difference between being safe and out. For you infielders out there who are watching, when you charge that ball, you have to field the ball with your left foot forward so you can come down on your right throwing rather than taking the extra step, which is very costly in this case.
Alfredo Griffin, the number 9 man, tying run out there at second base. He bunts it nicely. Third baseman has to play it, and it'll go 5-4 on the bunt fielder's choice. Alfredo Griffin failed to bunt the other night in Toronto with the White Sox in town, and it may have cost the Blue Jays a ball game. But tonight he executes.
That's the one thing he has gotten paid to do over the years, is handle the bat. He was one of the first with the old butcher boy, square around to, in the American League anyway, square around the bunt and then chop it over the third baseman's head, and there he executes perfectly. They had the number 1 play on. That's the pitcher's responsibility to get over towards the line, and Reed was a little late covering. It wasn't a great bunt, but it did the job on AstroTurf.
Devon White stepping in. Butcher boy? Can you explain that one to us?
Well, that's an old Dodger term, and I don't know where it came from, but that's where you square around and you chop at the ball. I'm sure that's where the butcher boy came from. You chop at it to try to get the high hop when everyone's moving around on that old wheel play in baseball term.
On a pitch away, Devon White hit it right off the end of the bat. No balls, 2 strikes. I just didn't want to let that pass by. You kind of threw it out there. It's a normal part of your conversation, but I'd never heard it before.
Whatever you do, Bob, if I say something, don't let it pass by. Let's get it out of here in the open. No, it's an old-time baseball term, and I know a lot of those old coaches out there are familiar with it for sure.
No balls, 2 strikes. Devon White tying run at third, lead run out at second. Royals on top, 1-0 in the top of the third. And a fastball at the knees in the outside corner. Devon White is gone. It's strikeout number 2 for Rick Reed.
That's really paint by Rick Reed. That is, he was being an artist, and he painted the outside corner. It might have been a little outside. I think we were all all surprised that Devon's taking there. 0-2, he's usually a free swinger, and that was just a pitch that froze him away at the knees. It could have been low, it could have been outside, but as far as the record book is concerned, it's strike 3. And now Reed's one batter away from getting out of a jam.
But it's one of the best young batters in baseball, Robbie Alomar. He throws one down the middle for a strike. That was an interesting pitch because Brent Maine had set up to the outside, and Reed may have surprised the catcher and the hitter by throwing it right down the middle. Breaking ball, hit well, but foul down the left field corner.
I'm very impressed with Reed's ability to throw the ball over the plate. It's great to see. He's not a young guy. He is 28, so he's learned the hard way, and he's probably learned a lot from walking people, and he hasn't shown any signs of bad control tonight. He's throwing the ball over the plate with his fastball, breaking ball. And this is one of the better breaking ball hitters in our league right here, Bob. And I think he has to be real careful what he does with 2 strikes and a breaking ball. I'd come after him with 3 straight fastballs and maybe the 3-2 breaking ball in first base opener.
Kelly Gruber started the inning with a little blue pit. Pat Borders bunted for a base hit. They both moved up on the Alfredo Griffin bunt and stayed as Devon White was called out on strikes.
I think you really see Maine moving around in and off the plate.
He wants the outside fastball, and he just missed. And the way that Rick Reed is hitting his spots right now, Bobby, it looks like he is really on tonight.
He is really on, and he's going to get the calls a little off the plate if, in fact, he can prove that he can hit that catcher's target. You saw him go away. Now he's going to go away again, probably with a fastball again.
1-2. That's a breaking ball that he wasted down low.
Yeah. And tried to backdoor him on the breaking ball. Now he's got a 2-2 count. He knows he has 2 more pitches to play with. He has to be extremely careful in this situation with Alomar, who's the best average hitter on the Toronto team.
A .324 batting mark, number 4 in the American League. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 on, 2 out. Fastball. Alomar late again.
Well, Robbie has that swing that keeps the bat through the strike zone an awful long time, leading with his hands. He gets firm up front with his front side, and that's what allows him to hit the breaking ball so well. Yet he will be late on a lot of fastballs, fouling them off rather than putting them in play. And I think he's got to come one more time at a fastball, preferably inside.
That's the way Maine is leaning. There it is, and it's fouled off.
Just about worked. He was a little late coming around on it, and the young catcher Maine here, who again, Smokey Garrett before the game told me is a real good thinker. He knows the game. He adjusts as the game goes along, and I think he's calling a wonderful game for Reed.
2-2 again. Breaking ball, high chopper. Howard has to hurry, gets rid of it, and out at first base. So the 2 leadoff singles wasted. The Blue Jays strand their first 2 runners. Reed, a good job to pitch out of it, keeping his team ahead. Welcome back to Kansas City. 2.5 innings in the scorebook here at Royal Stadium. 1-0 Royals over the Toronto Blue Jays. Dark, threatening, nasty-looking skies overhead, but nothing happening weather-wise at the moment. We'll keep our fingers crossed as this one goes to the 3rd inning. And Jack Morris gets Jeffries on a pitch low and inside, strike 1. Here's a guy who's made some adjustments after his tough first half of the season.
Exactly so, Bob. Hitting about 220 at the end of May when we came in here, and since then he's been well over 300. He moved up on the plate. He's using his hands a lot more. I think this kid can lead the league in hitting. I think as good a fastball hitter as he is.
Alfredo Griffin, no at first base. As good a hitter as Jeffries is, and he can get some leg hits as well. he might be a batting champ someday. You've got to get those kind of hits to win the batting title.
Exactly so. Switch hitter. He hits the ball in the gaps. In this ballpark, I think it's going to be very conducive to his style of hitting. And there, as you say, his legs help him. His line drives help him. Now you have Wilkerson, again, in a fastball situation to try to make something happen.
Next up is Curtis Wilkerson. At first base, Jeffries, he has stolen 17 in 22 attempts. That, of course, opens up the right side of the infield, although Alomar is cheating toward that second hole as much as he can. With the left-hander up there, they'll probably cover second with Griffin. That gives Alomar a little leeway on that right side to close down that gap.
And what you have here, as Jack goes to first base, Bob, is a guy who hardly ever misses the fastball in Wilkerson at the plate. He will swing through that breaking ball, but the breaking ball is the pitch that Jeffries can steal on. So it is a very good running situation. Fastball, the chance Borders has to throw him out, Wilkerson will hit. Breaking ball, the pitch that he could steal on, Wilkerson will miss.
Jeffries holding. And Morris, either a fork or a fastball, caught the outside corner. There's George Brett, who's now just 22 hits away. After a single to right field in the very first inning that helped the Royals set up that rally. Whoa, that one way outside, and Pat Borders had to do some serious scrambling to reach that one.
And Pat did a lot of cheating on that pitch out, and he might have given it away with Lynn Jones down there watching him closely, his first base coach. He took a step and a half outside after he gave his signal, and it looked like the jam was called off early.
One ball, one strike to Wilkerson, leadoff man aboard. And Curtis, a good job to lay off that low and inside pitch. That one could have turned the count against him, and now he's ahead 2-1.
And you could go to the bank. Jeffries is running here. He's on his way. It's 2-1. Everything is in the Royals' favor. You got the fastball hitter up there in a fastball count, and they're going to try to get first and third going again.
There he goes. Swing and a miss. Borders throw on target, and they got him. A good play by Alfredo Griffin with the ball out in front of the bag, and the throw tailing right to the shoulder of Greg Jeffries.
And there's that one case you're not thinking about or not counting on, is that the fastball does come, but it's a fastball that he can't reach. It's up and out of the zone. Jeffries is going all the way. Griffin makes an outstanding tag coming up the line, and that's where a lot of people get hurt, and you'll see a lot of young shortstops shy away from that play, but the veteran went right after it, made a great tag, and now it's 1 out and 2-2.
Pat Borders whipping the ball down to second base. This year, the Blue Jays have thrown out 55 would-be base stealers and given up 125 stolen bases, so they've got a pretty good percentage, around 35 to 40%. What a play by that man, Alfredo Griffin. And Wilkerson on the breaking ball down low, striking out. Jack Morris will get his second strikeout of the game, and that makes it bases empty, 2 down.
And that's how you get a little gray hair as a manager, Bob, because Hal McRae's in there figuring. He was patient. He waited until the count got in his favor. He did not run on the pitch out count. Now they're behind. He gets the fastball, this fastball hitter up there, and a great play by Griffin. Basically gets him out of the inning. Here's Brett hitting with nobody on and 2 outs.
That was Manny Lee, flanked by Derek Bell and Pat Tabler in the Toronto dugout. George on the first pitch, a sky ball into center, and he will be retired by Devon Wyatt. So the Royals get the leadoff single and then go quickly. 3 innings in the book in KC. 1-0 Royals. Baseball, the beautiful fountains at Royal Stadium, Kansas City. 4th inning coming up, 1-0 for the home team so far. here in the month of September when Major League Baseball and college football overlap a little bit. Exciting time of the year. And when these teams get together, the ball is usually in the air. The Aztecs of San Diego State, the Cougars of BYU, they're in the top 25. ESPN's college football returns Thursday night, 7:45 Eastern, 4:45 for you early birds in the West Coast. The Aztecs and the Cougars, that whack, will take center stage Thursday night on ESPN. They love to put the football in the air in the Western Athletic Conference. Joe Carter's put it in the air this year 30 times for home runs, and he's the leadoff man as Rick Reed continues to hit his spots. He got Carter on a fly ball to left field his first time. I think Joe thought that pitch was a little low. Greg Koss gave the pitcher the strike call.
Once again, he's been hitting that target, and Greg's putting up that right hand. He wants to get out of here, but I like a guy who calls a game and calls strikes. And now it's 0-2, and there's Carter again on that inside fastball. I think you have to pitch Joe inside and in off the plate. He'll swing and hit a lot of foul balls. You throw him strikes away, though, that's the ball I'll put over the fence. Now you could throw the ball off of the plate. Don't throw him a strike. Do it for 3 pitches more, Bob, because he'll swing one of the next 3. He's not going to take a walk after being 0-2.
They ran it in on him, and he rams it foul into the corner. As long as you get it inside far enough.
Exactly. He'll swing at the pitch in off the plate. He'll break his bat. Sometimes he'll hit those towering foul balls. I've seen him hit balls out of the stadium in Arlington, foul, and everyone goes, ooh. And I just try to tell them, especially my young pitchers, that's exactly what you want. That's a strike. You're getting them to commit early. Then you get the outside part of the plate. But Joe is a wonderful and dangerous hitter on that pitch that's a strike away, and even sometimes a little off the plate away.
Royals will have fireworks after the game tonight in celebration of the holiday, and I guess they can burn up 2 of Winfield's bats, 2 of Carter's bats now. He has broken bats each time up there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Winfield to follow, then Olerud in the Toronto 4th. Big breaking ball, and that one is hit foul.
Maine was sitting outside there. He wanted that pitch off the plate, and Reed left it on the plate almost for a run. Left it too much with 1 ball, 2 strikes. I think he can get out there and bounce that breaking ball and see what happens. He's coming back inside.
There's that New York-Baltimore score that Toronto's concerned with. 2-2 in the 10th inning now. Jose Canseco walked in his first at bat for the Texas Rangers at home tonight. And some of the finals rolling in from this afternoon. Expos passed up a chance to gain a game on the Pirates as each team lost in extra innings. Outside, 2-2. Minnesota Twins, with that win, broke a 3-game losing streak and moved to within 4.5 of Oakland today. Carter got fisted. This one will stay in play. Wally Joyner, easily done, 1 out.
That's that fastball in on the hands. He threw him a pitch off the plate away. He looks out there, and then he threw a pitch in off the plate. Joe pops it up, and here's Winnie, who tried to make something happen after going down 1 run. His last at-bat, he looped that ball in the right field, tried to take advantage of the rookie, and got thrown out at second base. He's probably regretting that right now, but again, I love his hustle. Every game, every inning, he goes hard.
We talked about George Brett being in the top 19 all-time hitting. Dave Winfield is up over 1,000 career extra base hits. Did that just about a week ago. He's way up there on the RBI charts.
And Bob, very few people would have said that come September 1992, Dave Winfield would be hitting 4th for a team that's in first place. After he had his back problems a few years ago, there are many people who wrote him off, and Dave Winfield has been an excellent athlete. He's been conditioned, He looks as good now in his uniform as he did when I played with him 15 years ago in San Diego because of the pride that he has in himself. And that pride is going to lead him, I think, into the World Series. I think he has a shot at being a star throughout the playoffs this year. And if he is, I think he'll seal up that Hall of Fame vote that he's been after from day one of his Major League career.
Collected hit number 2,800 earlier this year. He's got a chance at 300, sticking around for the 93 season. And Reed just missing with a fastball on 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dave Winfield, with 23 home runs this year, has now hit 20 or more in 13 of his 20 big league seasons. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And you can probably blame the cavernous left field at Yankee Stadium for some of those seasons when he did not.
Exactly, Bob. And when he was in San Diego, they had the walls up high and far back. It was a much more difficult homer when Dave Winfield played in San Diego than it is today.
2-2 pitch. This one hammered to center. Going back, Brian McRae. It is caught at the wall. A rocket shot of about 410 feet, and Brian McRae outraced the baseball to the warning track. 2 down.
When he still hits that high fastball, when McRae gets a great jump, great angle, and then times his leap perfectly to make an outstanding catch. Everything has to be perfect there, your jump, your angle, and your leap, in order to make a catch like this off the bat of Dave Winfield, and McRae did it. He's an outstanding defensive player.
This is a lot like Tiger Stadium in Detroit. You've got to have an outstanding center fielder to play in this ballpark. It's 440 to center there, but the gaps are a lot shorter. But it is a cavern of a ballpark out there, and McRae can really cover it. Now Olerud has fouled off the first pitch after he was called on strikes his first time.
John came up and was the heir apparent to Freddie McGriff's job. He took over that job and tried to hit a lot of home runs to take Fred's place. Realized that wasn't his forte and went back to hitting for an average. He's up to 300 now, and he's helping the team when he's getting his base hits rather than trying to hit home runs. And right now he's helping the team.
There are some who think this is a future batting champion with that great swing of his. 2 balls and a strike. Olerud out of Washington State a couple of years ago. The well-documented brain aneurysm that he suffered, and a situation that threatened his life for a while. He's been okay and wears the batting helmet whenever he's on the field, even at first base defensively. Fine young man, sort of a quiet, soft-spoken player who goes out every day and gets the job done. Jeffries will circle under this one, and the Blue Jays are gone in the 4th inning. 6 in a row for Rick Reed. His Royals lead 1-0. That doubleheader coming up tomorrow night. We wrap up the tripleheader this evening on Labor Day here on ESPN. Wally Joyner will lead off against Jack Morris. 1-0 Kansas City over Toronto, bottom of the 4th here at Royals Stadium. Jack Morris, there's that nasty forkball. When you start your swing, it's in the strike zone. When you finish your swing, the catcher's catching it down in the dirt.
Exactly. There's 2 kinds of pitches. One that looks like a ball and becomes a strike, and one that looks like a strike and becomes a ball.
And then there's the changeup, and he hung it up, and Wally Joyner stayed right on it and singled to right field. Royals have their 5th hit of the game, and the leadoff man aboard for the 2nd consecutive inning.
Jack didn't want that ball up there. That's a just please get down ball, and it never did get down. It was slow enough, and Wally was able to drag that bat through the zone in order to lead off this inning with a hit.
Kevin McReynolds next. Wally signed a new contract extension back at the end of June. He's signed now with the Royals through 95. Club holds an option on him for the 96 season. So they've settled the first base position around here for a number of years to come.
And a lot of people question Wally for signing so early, but I wonder if in fact this winter isn't going to see a bust in that free agent market and have Wally Joyner be one of the guys along with Sandberg and Cal Ripken to reap the benefits.
Ruben Sierra in that group, and I think Wally might have realized, you know, I'm not one of those top 3, 4, 5 guys, and he evidently likes it here in Kansas City. He says he can't believe how easily the negotiations went. He thought the Royals were very generous with their offer, and it's refreshing to see somebody say yes for a change. McReynolds, a little pop fly into right field. It will drop, and Joyner is headed for third. The Royals have runners at the corners with nobody out. And with those two men aboard, our man aboard is John Saunders.
And you want to look at a great double play. Walt Weiss had an error right before this, right between his legs. But look at him dive, come up, throw to Porter, who turns two. Unfortunately for the A's, they lost the game 3-2, and their lead is down to 4.5. Bob and Bobby.
Thank you, John Saunders. Bobby Valentine's old right fielder, Ruben Sierra, made the final out in that game. Bobby, you and I saw that double play in the dinner room back here at Royal Stadium, and it caused us to pause and enjoy the replay. That was something else.
One of the best I've ever seen. And Bordick did as good a job as Weiss, yielding a low throw and getting out of the way of the runner. Great job, and here we're back with Maine, first and third, no outs.
And he takes one low and inside, but the Athletics lost again, and they're still having trouble scoring runs with Jose Canseco gone. Maine popped out to right field his first time, but he has an RBI opportunity. They've got him played to pull. You saw Griffin up the middle. Blue Jays have turned 94 double plays this year. Royals have hit into 128. And Morris misses outside with a fastball, 2-0, and snaps his glove as Pat Borders returns it to him. He's angry at himself. He might still be mad about that changeup to Wally Joyner.
And the inside fastball at Jan McReynolds to make it first and third. Jack gets mad not only at the opposition but at himself, and I think that compounds some of his big innings.
He's in trouble here, 2-0. Maine was not about to help him out by swinging. Brett thought the ball was low, and it's 2 balls and a strike. And it looks like Greg Kosk has established a low strike zone here in this game.
He's a low ball umpire that might widen the zone as the game gets on, but he's a good balls and strikes umpire who keeps the game going. And once again, I think that's what everybody likes to see. Call the strike when it's a strike.
2 balls and a strike. Blue Jays will concede the run to try for the double play. This one is lined into the gap in left center. It might score 2 more. Home is Joyner. McReynolds around third. He will score on a 2-run double by Brent Maine. 3-0 Kansas City. Brent Maine with RBIs number 17 and 18.
And Bob, last time up with runners in scoring position, I questioned whether or not he'd make the adjustment and try to hit the ball to left field. He didn't. He made the final out of the inning. This time, he does go with the outside fastball, hits it in the gap, and there's 2 more runs on the board, and Jack Morris is in trouble.
Runner at second, still nobody out. On 7 hits, the Royals have their 3 runs. This is the second inning in the ballgame when they have put 3 consecutive hits together. This time they've struck for 2 runs, and the hitter is Kevin Kozlowski. And now his job, with nobody out, becomes moving Maine over to third base. Now the Orioles bat in the bottom of the 10th. Leo Gomez tied the game up in the 9th with a home run, and it's still 2-2. As there will be a cheer at Camden Yards when this Kansas City score gets flashed up on the scoreboard there. And knowing those folks at that new ballpark, they probably have it up there already.
And they're cheering, no doubt about that. It's a great ballpark, great fans. Here's a minor leaguer who's been around a long time. My favorite play in this situation is dragging the bunt to the right side, getting that runner over, maybe even first and third. Let's see what he does.
Low and inside breaking ball.
Looked like he was going to try to hit the runner over, you know, pull the ball to the right side, get the guy over. I contend, though, that as soon as you show bunt, that pitcher's going to break that half step towards third base. If, in fact, you let that first baseman field the bunt, you're going to beat Jack Morris to the bag, and you're going to have first and third and no outs and a real big inning ready to happen.
Jack Morris very disgusted with himself falling behind another hitter, so he walks a good 20 or 25 feet behind the mound to have a little meeting with Jack Morris. We'll see if he can get his act together. There's a young pitcher out there. You'll see Galen Cisco out there visiting, but they feel Morris can take care of it himself. That ball was a breaking ball in on the fists of Kozlowski. He could not hit it fair.
But he really was trying to get the head of the bat out, and that's his job right here. Hit the ball to the right side. He knew what he wanted to do. It was an off-speed pitch. He got a little too far out in front, but and a manager's nightmare is to have this guy pop up to the left side right here. Get the head out if you're going to swing, and at least let it be man on third and 1 out.
And they're now in the 11th inning at Baltimore. Still 2-2, Yanks and the Orioles. Devin Kozlowski thought Morris was taking too much time. Kozlowski from Maroa, Illinois. An 8.5-year minor leaguer who was drafted by the Royals way back in the 20th round of 1984. This could be 2, and what a play by Jack Morris. He pounced on that ball and threw in one motion for the 1-6 bunt double play. Hal McRae will argue the call at second base.
The center fielder, Brian McRae.
Well, he definitely had the angle on the hit, but not on the bunt. He has his bat back here. Tries to take the ball to first base with him, but pops it up. Another nightmare for a manager, both on the bases and at the plate. Now, instead of a man on third and 1 out, you have nobody on and 2 outs. And maybe gives Jack Morris that breath that he needed to regroup and keep his team in the game.
Well, Maine getting congratulations for the double that drove home 2. And really, it's a tough play for a base runner. He's caught in no man's land when that ball is bunted in the air.
But you have to freeze in that situation, Bob, and see the ball hit the ground. You only could do one thing. You can't both run for the bunter and run for yourself.
And if you're unsure whether the bunt's going to fall, get back to second base. There's no runner 90 feet behind you.
Exactly so.
But he got caught off, and now McRae bats, base is empty, 1 ball, no strikes. And it goes to 2-0. And we heard a little one-syllable expletive from Jack Morris right after ball 2. He is really fighting himself out there.
And his control. Everything is up and everything is off the plate.
So he goes with the changeup and drops it way down low, ball 3. And then he misses with the fastball. He's really stomping around out there. That is the first walk he's issued tonight, and he'll face David Howard, the number 9 hitter.
He has thrown a lot of pitches, though. He's laboring. He does not have his rhythm. And as I said earlier, he's fighting himself. That's been a trademark of not only Jack, but many of the great competitors who get out there. And what he has to do is get outside of himself and get into the competition. Don't compete against yourself. Compete against the hitter. He's the only one who can hurt you at this time, and Jack knows that better than anyone.
Well, David Howard starting at shortstop again this year, at least for the second half of the season. That was close. Right on the foot of McRae went the throw. And John Olerud caught that ball close to where McRae was stepping back on the bag. Bryant has stolen 14 in 18 attempts. Last year, Howard was the starting shortstop after the departure of Kurt Stillwell. This year, Howard started the season as the starting shortstop. Had back spasms in April, was out for a couple of months. Keith Miller took over after coming over from the Mets. And then when he broke a bone in his lower leg, Howard came back from AAA, and he's been back in there ever since. They're sort of nursing Keith Miller back into the lineup at this point.
And there, Bob, you just saw an unintentional pitch out. It was a ball up and away just in case he was going. You have 2 options here. Let Howard hit, and if he makes it out, you have Jeffries leading off next inning, or
runner going. Strike, and the throw high. McRae is in there for his 15th of the year.
Or swipe the bag after what was a pitch out on the first pitch, the unintentional one, and see if Howard can drive him in with 2 outs. He gets a great jump. Jack has a relatively big kick. It's about a 1-3 to the plate. McRae gets the great jump, and there's no contest for Borders on a high throw. And so the man's out there in scoring position. The Royals have really been an aggressive team today, trying to take it to the Blue Jays, and they're doing it.
Trying to bunt for a hit, but fouling it back. 1 ball, 2 strikes to David Howard.
Well, that's a situation where young Howard's saying, I'm not sure I could drive him in, but I'm I'm more confident in Jeffries driving him in, so I'm going to try to drop a bunt down here and get on base and let Jeffries do the RBI job for me. It's not that bad a play when you're a ninth place hitter, and already you have 17 RBIs.
1-2 pitch, and he couldn't stop it. In fact, he foul-tipped it. So he is gone. Third strikeout for Morris. But the Royals strike for 2 runs on 3 hits and a walk. And after 4, 3-0 KC. Welcome back to ESPN's Major League Baseball, Royals Stadium, Kansas City, the nightcap of our Labor Day triple-header. Royals out hitting the Jays 7-3, leading 3-0. Top of the 5th inning, Candy Maldonado, Kelly Gruber, Pat Borders for the Blue Jays. Bob Carpenter, Bobby Valentine from Royals Stadium. And we'll see how Rick Reed fares. He has been tough tonight. He's only struggled in 1 inning. That was the 3rd when Gruber blooped a hit. Borders bunted for 1. He got busy and retired the side in order from there. Jeffries with a nice play, and that's 7 in a row for Rick Reed.
Throwing strikes, has that sinker worked inside here on Candy. He almost bounces it over Jeffries' head. Good leaping ability. And throws him out at first. Here's the leaping ability of Jeffries. He's up. Squares himself, and you have to make that back foot get perpendicular to first base wherever you are in the infield, and Jeffries did. 1 out.
Low and away. Kelly Gruber, the hitter. Jeffries finding a home here in Kansas City. There have been players before who've left the bright lights of the East and found peace and fun in the Midwest.
Well, as I said earlier, they were criticizing the trade earlier in the season, but I think they're going to come to like that Brett Saberhagen deal the more they see this kid Jeffries play.
Well hit by Gruber, but way foul. Well, Saberhagen obviously has not paid the dividends the Mets anticipated. Now he says he wants out of New York unless he's convinced they've made a commitment to winning after the David Cone deal that sent him to Toronto. Up the middle, Wilkerson, nice play, 2 down. Curtis Wilkerson may not have the strongest arm in the world for playing shortstop like he did early in his career, but going to the hole up the middle at second base, he can make that play.
And he's a very good second baseman. One thing, you just can't play him too much, and Hal McRae's playing him just enough to get a good season out of him. I think that's one of the craziest things I ever hear, though, when a team has a $40 million payroll, have a player say they're not committed to winning. Give me a break.
First pitch, fly ball right field from Pat Borders, and Kozlowski makes the play. 9 in a row for Reed. Halfway through in KC, 3-0 Royals.
ESPN Major League Baseball is brought to you by Bud Dry. For a beer that's refreshingly different, try Bud Dry.
Bottom of the 5th inning in Royal Stadium, Kansas City. All home teams so far. They have handled Jack Morris in good fashion and lead 3-0. Morris came in winning the 4 consecutive games, but he'll have to get some help from his teammates to make that happen here tonight. Top of the order for the Royals. Greg Jeffries has taken a breaking ball for a strike. He's 1 for 2 with a single, and he was caught stealing. Outside corner, 0-2. Jeffries, Wilkerson, and Brett, left-hand hitters against Jack Morris in the 5th inning. And you heard the old Jack Morris grunt as he let go of that one. Talk about intimidating pitchers. Nolan Ryan, of course, making noises in the mound for years coming at hitters, and Jack Morris as well. On a high fastball, it's chopped up the middle. A little backhand by Alomar, and 1 out. Robbie Alomar makes him look easy out there at second base.
He does so many things to help you win the game, Bob. I'm really glad for the Toronto team that he's not leading the league in hitting, because there'd be so much attention on him that he wouldn't be able to do all the little things I feel that he does so well. At hitting .330 or .325, whatever he is, he gets to play his steady game day in and day out, and that's going to, I think, be the difference down the stretch.
Fastball outside to Curtis Wilkerson with a base hit, a run scored in 2 trips. Curtis now hitting a cool .274. Up the middle. To his left. Big hop. Alfredo Griffin, and how quickly did he get rid of that ball? 2 down. How about those for quick hands?
Really quick hands, Bob, and you get the Sunday hops coming off of the AstroTurf, and then it hits the dirt down there where the runners have been. You see the ball going there, you get the Sunday hop, and then tricky hop, and there's Alfredo going up with his glove, making a great play to show why a veteran never takes anything for granted. He was ready for the bad hop, and when you are, you'll make the good play.
And a very quick exchange. George Bretta's up there after 2 grounders. I've got to get this in tonight, Bobby. We've been trying for 5 innings. The thought about Brett and Robin Yount. But George swings on the first pitch again, so I guess we'll talk about it later. He is up to left field. Maldonado puts it away. And George 1 for 3 now. We're after 5 in KC. Royals 3, Jays nothing. In Major League Baseball from Royal Stadium in Kansas City. And after 5 innings of play, the Royals have out-hit the Blue Jays 7-3 and lead 3-0. Alfredo Griffin to lead off for Toronto in the 6th. Bob Carpenter with Bobby Valentine. Bobby, nice to have you with us on the holiday.
Bob, great being with you. It's great being at a ballpark, seeing a Major League game, and being with you. You've really been kind tonight. Thanks.
You've been to a couple of Ranger games, haven't you, since you know what happened 6 weeks ago?
Yeah, since I got my walking papers, I went out. I sat with Tom Grieve one night up in the skybox, and that's strike 2 on Griffin, and then sat in the stands a couple nights. The team hasn't scored yet when I'm out there, and I'm figuring it's me, so I don't go anymore.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Cito Gaston waiting for his team patiently, quietly, trying to get some offense going. High pitch, foul tip, and a strikeout. Number 3 for Rick Reed, and he's on quite a streak. Double figures now. He's retired 10 consecutive batters.
He just throws the high fastball right by Griffin there. His command of his fastball and his breaking ball has been exceptional, and the number of pitches has been minimal. He's working effortlessly out there and doing a wonderful job. Griffin took the first pitch that time. It was strike 1, got behind, and Devon White won't be taking it. Not
a little change up there. You know, something just crossed my mind. You'd make a heck of an aggressive commissioner.
Oh, God.
What about that news today? Did that surprise you that Fay has gone ahead and called it quits, or was it inevitable because of the non-support of the owners?
Well, I just believe that Fay Vincent did what he had to do in order to let baseball get on and not to have him be a stumbling block. I felt he always did what he thought was best for baseball, and right now he's going to try to let baseball get on with its business.
No balls, 2 strikes. And I guess we're waiting to have someone tell us exactly what that business is.
Yeah, and I think with all change, change is measured by results. And I think a lot of people will be waiting to see what kind of results come from this change. Hopefully it will be a positive result and not one that drags us into any quagmires in the near future.
No balls, 2 strikes. Fastball away and barely missing was Reed. He's in his 6th inning of work. That was pitch number 70, so he's got a very good economical pitch count going out there. He figures to be around in the late innings the way he's throwing. And a fastball in on White. Count stays 1-2.
He seems to be around for a while. As I said, not only Kansas City is watching him, but I see Hugh Alexander and Howie Haig, some of the great scouts of Major League Baseball, right behind home plate watching him. And there's going to be very favorable reports being put in on this young man. With expansion coming up, I think he'll have a big league job next year.
That is a fair ball beyond the bag at third. Devon White will dig for a couple. McReynolds was playing him over that way, so he doesn't have that far to go. And the Blue Jays have their first extra base hit of the night. Here's John Saunders with an update.
Jays may need this victory because the Orioles aren't giving up against the Yankees. Pat Kelly with a runner on third loops this one, but McLemore makes the great play, which saves the run. They're into the 12th now, tied 2 apiece. Bob Carpenter and Bobby Valentine.
Thank you, John. And Bobby, we were talking earlier tonight about Curtis Wilkerson. How about Mark McLemore, a utility man who came over unwanted by the Angels, and he's done a fine job for Johnny Oates.
He went on a fabulous wintertime program. Everyone should get on that program. He got stronger, got more confident, and he's played exceptional baseball this year. Devon White, 2-strike hitting on a changeup going to left was a very impressive at-bat, his last at-bat, and here's Roberto.
So White out at second base. Alomar the hitter. Robbie has grounded to second, grounded to short on a good play by David Howard with 2 men aboard in the 3rd inning. Alomar now hitting at .322. And Reed steps off with David Howard jockeying in a bit behind the runner out at second base.
This really is one of those crucial times. You got through 5 innings as a young pitcher. A veteran team has seen you twice. Now you're coming through the middle of the order the 3rd time around. And it really is time to call in some of the chips. Reed still throwing strikes.
Roberto Alomar is on a season-high 12-game hitting streak coming in. He's 18 for his last 45, around .410 during that streak. And it hasn't been one of those cheapo streaks. 4 of the last 5 games have been of the multi-hit variety. A ball and a strike to the Toronto second baseman. Breaking ball. Reed stabs it. He's got the runner trapped off second. He'll run right at Devon White. They will tag him, and Devon White keeps the rundown alive long enough for Robbie Alomar to get out to second base. So they trade the out, and there will be 2 down for Joe Carter.
You have the exact same situation there. Devon did a good job. He made the pitcher commit. Got in the rundown with the play going away from second base to allow Roberto enough time to get around to trade places with him. When you get caught off, and on a one-hopper, very often you will, you have to at least exchange places, and Devon White did right there.
1-6-5 on the fielder's choice. Alomar at second, 2 outs. Joe Carter stepping in. Fay Vincent, of course, big in the news today. It happened at about 4:40 or so Eastern time today. We'll have details on Baseball Tonight and Sports Center. And the bottom of the 6th is coming up after Brian McRae puts away the Joe Carter fly ball. Blue Jays get a hit. They've stranded 3. Royals 3-0 in the 6th. Some of those Royals championship banners flying proudly here. An ultra successful expansion franchise that was born back in 1969 on the old hilltop in Kansas City at Municipal Stadium. And they moved to this beautiful ballpark 3 years later. Wally Joyner the hitter. Now it's 2 balls, no strikes from Jack Morris. Joyner, McReynolds, and Maine, the Royals hitters in the 6th inning. Wally's had a good night, 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run scored. And off the fists, down into left field. Maldonado can't make the play. It short hops him, and Joyner will have a leadoff double that dropped in front of Candy Maldonado. Not too far away from George Brett's location for that inside the park home run yesterday.
That's right, and I don't know what has Jack more frustrated, his inability to throw strikes or the jam shots that he's giving up for base hits here. Here's Candy giving an all-out effort on the slip and slide out there, but it's 2 bases, and again, the Royals have a chance to break this game open. This game really isn't as close as the 3-0 score indicates. The Royals have totally outplayed the Jays so far tonight.
Kevin McReynolds got one of those frustrating hits off Jack Morris 2 innings ago. Jack fisted him, and Kevin dumped one into right field. Then Joyner and McReynolds scored on the 2-run double by Brent Maine. That opened the lead out to 3-0. Kansas City now with 8 base hits. Up the middle, that'll get through. Around third, Joyner on his way home. It's 4-0.
And I'm not sure if I've ever seen Kevin McReynolds approach the ball like that. Man on second, no outs, and he literally led with his hands to hit an inside, low and inside pitch up the middle, which is really to right field for him. That's exactly what he was trying to do, and he did it. Execution to the nth degree, and my hat's off to McReynolds. Fine job.
Kevin just off the DL last week. He was out a month with a separated shoulder from August 4th to the 4th of September. And Brent Maine will be up there. So Wally Joyner came home to score after having his first extra base hit in 2.5 weeks. McReynolds bounced one up the middle to drive him home. Kevin's 49th RBI. And the Royals lead 4-0 with Brent Maine at the plate.
And Bob, if you had to make a prediction on what you would see coming into this game, you would say the veteran would get ahead of the hitters and throw strikes, and the rookie would be afraid of the first place team and fall behind. And we're seeing exactly the opposite. Jack's behind every hitter.
Runners going. Changeup. Right side. That'll move the runner ahead. Without the runner going, that's a 4-6-3 double play. And McReynolds moves to second with 1 out.
And even with the bottom of the order coming up, Hal's put the hit and run on there. Maine just guessed wrong. He tried to hit the ball to the right side, or either got out in front of the off-speed pitch. At least he moved the runner along, and they have another chance for that run number 5, big number 5, where Grand Slam can't tie you.
Jack Morris looks in at rookie Kevin Kozlowski. An inside breaking ball, might have been the fork ball that he swung over the top of. Kozlowski came in hitting at .325. He's 7 for his last 20 over his last 6 ball games. This guy showed up and started doing a good job right in a hurry. It looks like David Wells out in the Toronto bullpen starting to get loose. Blue Jays, of course, have one of the best bullpens in baseball, but it's not as effective when they're down as when they're ahead, because they've got Dwayne Ward to set things up for Tom Henke. But Henke threw a little bit yesterday, so he may not be available tonight anyway. They got Wells and Al Leiter from the left side, Mark Eichhorn, Mike Timlin, Wells and Henke from the right side. 2 balls, 2 strikes on that swing and a miss.
Jack's going to his slider a little more in the last couple innings, and they are swinging at it and getting him some strikes, but he really has had no control of his fastball tonight. His split finger consequently is ineffective because he's never ahead of the hitter, so he's going to that number 3 pitch and at least getting some swinging strikes.
2-2 pitch. They're now in the 12th inning at Baltimore. Orioles did not score in the 11th. The Yankees batting. 2-2 the score. Baltimore could come out of Labor Day a half game behind the Blue Jays. And they've got 3 games left with each other, those later this month at Baltimore. One out, runner at second, 2-2 pitch. And Kozlowski hangs in there.
The Blue Jays have been here before in September where it's been close, and one time Detroit overtook them, and a couple other times they finished first. You have a young team in Baltimore that's having one heck of a season, and a surprise team in Milwaukee putting a lot of pressure on these Jays, and thank God baseball needs this kind of pennant race, and the Eastern Division is going to have it.
2-2 pitch again, and he gets the strikeout on the forkball. K number 4 for Jack Morris.
The center fielder, Brian McRae.
Well, he finally gets the 2-strike count where he could throw that split. The ball goes down nicely, and the young rookie is overmatched by the pitch, and he's had a lot of company in that department. That's a heck of a pitch when you have 2 strikes on you.
Well, there's one of the best young right-handers in the league, Kevin Apier, watching tonight off the left side out of play. Maybe someday Apier will be able to boast about the kind of numbers Jack Morris has had in postseason. One of the reasons the Blue Jays got him, he's 4-0 in 5 World Series games with an ERA of 1.54. 7-1 overall in postseason. The reason that's so important for Toronto, Dave, Steve, and Jimmy Key combined 2 wins in 9 postseason starts. So if they get that far, they've got a guy here they can give the ball to and know they've got about a out of 4 chance of winning. He's been that good. 0-2 to McRae. But there will be nights like tonight when a few bloops fall in. You'll fall behind some hitters, and then major league hitters will make you pay.
Exactly, Bob. But again, he is their horse. He might be limping a little tonight, but he's the guy they're going to go to time in and time out, and you have to put the money on him because he's been there.
And a couple of Ks. Morris comes battling back after giving up a run on 2 hits. 4 men stranded by Kansas City tonight, and after 6 innings at Royal Stadium, it's 4-0 KC. Nighttime at Royal Stadium in Kansas City, and on to the 7th inning we go. 9-4, the Royals have out hit the Blue Jays, and it's a 4-0 game after 6 innings of play. Dave Winfield, John Olerud, and Candy Maldonado against Rick Reed, who has retired 12 of the last 13 hitters. He's only given 1 extra base hit. Blue Jays only have 4 hits tonight. Dave Winfield has 1 of those. Back in the 2nd, he was gunned down trying to stretch a leadoff single into 2 bases.
One of those situations you fall into a catch-22.
That one right through. Number 38 couldn't catch that one. Up the middle it went, and the Blue Jays have a man on. And that is the 3rd time tonight they put the leadoff man aboard.
That catch-22, Bobby, is that the kid hasn't thrown many pitches, so he has taken. Here's a slider away by Winfield. He hasn't thrown many pitches at all, so they take. But the key is he's throwing strikes, and so the hitters are getting behind. I think that what they have to do is look for a pitch in or out and go to rip it and try to get an extra base hit or 2, and then they'll be rolling.
Olerud. This one will hang up out in left center. Brian McRae, plenty of time to get there for the 1st out. Winfield has to return. Middle of the Blue Jay order has not produced tonight. Carter's 0 for 3. Winfield, you can't blame him. 2 for 3, and he hit a ball to the base of the wall that McRae caught. Olerud 0 for 3, and Maldonado 0 for 2 stepping in.
Candy's capable of looking for that pitch inside and making this a 2-run ball game. Reed has worked him inside a couple times tonight. He's gotten him out, and I think the 3rd time could be the charm. They're not holding Winfield on at first base, and he's capable of swiping it, even though the score is 4-0. Stay out of that double play.
Maldonado has flied to right and grounded to 3rd. He hit that high bouncer that Jeffries made a good leap on to throw him out back in the 5th inning.
That was the inside fastball, a little off the plate for Candy. Might have been setting him up. I've seen him do this before. You think he's looking away and turns on that fastball inside.
Changeup. Strike 1.
Heck of a job of pitching. He set him up for the fastball. I think he was looking for it. He pulled the string on him, and Candy came out of his shoes. The pitch was located inside, but the speed was different. And there, once again, advantage Reed.
1 ball, 1 strike. There's that hitting room through the right side with Joyner playing behind the runner. And it's outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. Pretty good performance tonight by a guy who is winless in his last 9 games started. 28-year-old Rick Reed, who came in with a record of just 2-6, an earned run average of better than 4 a game. The 2-1. This one rifled out into right center. McRae coming on, can't get there. Deflects off his hand. It appears Winfield will score. Into 2nd base, Maldonado, and the Blue Jays are on the board.
That's an excellent job of base running by Dave Winfield. He read the ball off the bat. With the 4-0 score, you have to be sure the ball's going to fall, and he was sure. Therefore, he scores on with 1 out. Candy's on 2nd base. Nice try by McRae, though, trying to get this out. This ball fists him a little. It's a little down and in. He hits it to right center field, and on the wet turf, McRae goes sliding, misses it by about 1.5 feet. You saw the water splash up, and a good job of backing up by the right fielder, Kozlowski.
Well, the bullpen has been busy the last few minutes, and that will be it for Rick Reed. He will go 6 1/3 and give up a run on 6 hits. He's responsible for one more man out there. We'll check the pitching change and bring you back to Kansas City in a moment. 4-year-old right-hander Rusty Meacham takes over for the Royals here in the 7th inning.
You talk about a staff saver. This guy's one of the most impressive, unimpressive pitchers in the league. I mean, he stands out there about 155 pounds, throws the ball about 92. There's an inside fastball inside, throws about 92 with great sink. He talks to the ball. They compare him to Bert Fidrich a little, but I'm very impressed with Rusty Meacham.
Fastball upstairs, a ball and a strike. Well, I guess he should be compared to the Bird because he started with Detroit. Sparky Anderson compared him to Dennis Eckersley. Then he let him go on waivers. Sparky's been known to overblow his talent a little bit sometimes.
I think he had it right, though, not necessarily comparing him to Dennis, but here's ball 3. And this is a kid who has 55 appearances, 90 innings pitched. He's pitched an awful lot. And the first thing to go when you're tired is your control. His control was excellent right up through August, and then he started getting hit around a little.
3-0 fastball in there. Good outing by Rick Reed. 6 1/3, 6 hits. Did not walk a hitter, and he struck out 3. Kelly Gruber now goes to a full count, 3-2.
And there's a 3-1 fastball count. Here it comes. Throws it on the inside part to Gruber, and Gruber's just overmatched. Kelly's got to get it going for this J team to win.
Foul tip. Holding on, Brent Maine, 2 down.
And more of the same. 3-2. Here it comes. Got a 3-run lead. You want a fastball? I'll throw it right down the pipe. Let's see if you can hit it. In this case, he can't. And Meacham's on top again.
Pat Borders will be next. Meacham was the Royals pitcher of the month for August. George Brett, as we mentioned earlier, was the Royals player of the month after his outstanding performance with 11 multi-hit games. Second time this year that Meacham has won that monthly award. But he falls behind again. 2 balls, no strikes. Rick Reed looking for only his 3rd win of the year tonight. Al Fitzmaurice, the former Royal pitcher, up in the booth visiting with us for a while tonight, and he mentioned to us that of all the Royals games he's witnessed here at the ballpark this year, that's as well as Reed has thrown the ball all season long.
He was impressive.
2-1, and a chopper out to Jeffries. Should be easy. They get out of it, giving up only 1 run on 2 hits. The Blue Jays strand their 4th runner. 7th inning stretch time at Royal Stadium. KC still leads 4-1. Carpenter, Bobby Valentine, how do you like this TV stuff? You haven't done it since you were with NBC, what, in the early 80s?
The early 80s, Bob Costas and I did a game. I like it. I like it down there a lot better, though. But you know what I really like is the way this Kansas City staff is coming after the hitters, throwing strikes and working quickly. It's been a pleasure to watch.
Rick Reed, an outstanding performance tonight, probably the best he's thrown here all year. And a good bullpen has Hal McRae to work with. Jeff Montgomery is a good closer.
Outstanding. Over 30 saves. He throws strikes with more than 1 pitch. And Rusty Meacham's in there right now. It's going to be tough to score on that kid.
And the Royals have handled Jack Morris pretty well here tonight. We'll move this one into the bottom of the 7th inning. Kansas City with the bottom of the batting order up, and they, as we said, have handled Morris fairly well this evening. The leadoff man is David Howard, the shortstop. They've out-hit Toronto 9-6 and lead it 4-1. Jack Morris gave up a run in the 1st on 3 hits, 2 in the 4th on 3 hits, another run in the 6th on a couple of hits. And a high chopper over the mound. Alomar charges on the bounce. He throws him out. That's a play that Robbie Alomar is starting to make famous in Toronto. He just bounces up and throws it in one motion.
While he's in the air, he exchanges the ball and throws it. That's a great athlete and an outstanding second baseman, the best in the American League, maybe the best in baseball. There he is. Stay off the ground. Get the ball there. Hello.
And goodbye. Top of the order now, Greg Jeffries. Jeffries has a base hit and 3 trips up there tonight. They're now in the 13th inning at Baltimore, and the Yankees have come up with a run. They lead the Orioles 3-2. John Saunders in the studio will keep us up to date the rest of the night with what's going on before we wrap things up with baseball tonight. Sports Center coming up. So we'll keep an eye on that one, and if the Orioles do not come from behind, they could waste an opportunity to gain a full game on these Blue Jays.
If the Blue Jays don't come from behind, and Jack Moore's now throwing his slider to get the strike, then a fastball for a foul. Now you'll see the split finger, and he could go in the dirt. It's still the effective pitch for him.
A pitch up. Jeffries went hacking, and Olerud will feed it to Morris, an outstanding athlete for the out here in the 7th. 2 down.
The second baseman,
Jack's working. He covers first base with the best of them there, and Olerud makes easy doing of it, but he has labored tonight. As many innings as he's pitched and as many pitches as he's thrown tonight, Jack's feeling it right now, and he's trying to keep his team just close enough. I wouldn't be surprised if this is his last inning of work tonight, and hopefully, as he's hoping, the team will come up and get him back in the game as he's exiting.
Curtis Wilkerson, the hitter. First pitch swinging and fouling it off to the left. Wilkerson with a hit and a run scored in 3 trips.
Little Daddy, they call him, and he's been a pleasant surprise, as we mentioned earlier, for the Royals this year, filling in and doing an outstanding job.
Change up. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
We'll see that smile. He doesn't want to smile too much because he knows that split's coming right now. But once again, you got to get Jack early, Curtis. You can't let him get ahead in the count.
Like that. Jack Morris with his 6th strikeout. Now he's retired 6 in a row, and the inning is over. And after 7 innings here in Kansas City, Royals have out hit the Jays 9-6 and lead 4-1. Underway. Alfredo Griffin, the hitter, and a strike from Rusty Meacham in relief of Rick Reed. And he tries to bunt his way on. Did not go after it, says third base umpire Gary Cedarstrom. 1 ball, 1 strike.
As we talked about earlier, he has young Jeffries set up for that old butcher boy right now, where he's going to show the bunt and then swing. Well, there it was. If the pitch was away, he was going to try to pull it off. It didn't work. Pitch was inside.
2-1. Jays need some runners. They've got 6 outs to go, and they trail by 3. Season series, Blue Jays have won 5 of 9 between the clubs, and the Royals took 2 out of 3 here earlier, though. On this homestand, Kansas City took 2 out of 3 from Texas, lost 3 of 4 to the White Sox. Boy, Meacham works quickly, doesn't he? Full count, 3-2. This guy gets it back, and he's ready. And so Alfredo says, get me out of here for 10 seconds or so. This guy's working too fast.
Both of these pitchers are pitching like the enemy just landed at the nearest train station, and they want to get out of town. But it is a pleasure to see because they're throwing strikes.
3-2 to the leadoff man with Devon White to follow. And he missed it well outside. With the leadoff man aboard, here's John Saunders.
Budweiser takes us to Baltimore. You told us it was 3-2. That was on a bases-loaded walk. And then Bernie Williams, with the bases still full, over the head of Joe Orsulak, empties the bags. Hall, Noakes, and Stankiewicz. New York leading Baltimore 6-2 now. Bob and Bobby.
Thank you, John Saunders. Extra innings have not been kind to contenders on this Labor Day. Pirates lost at home in extra innings. Expos were beaten by the Cardinals in extra innings. It looks like a similar fate awaits the Orioles at the hands of the Yankees. So on Labor Day, it does no good to work overtime if you're a contender. 1 ball, no strikes to Devon White, and a swing and a miss evens the count. That was 6-5 Cubs over the Pirates at Three Rivers. 8-7 Cardinals over the Expos at Olympic Stadium. And now the Orioles about to get beat in extra innings at Camden Yards. In that National League East, that kept the Pirates 4 ahead of the Expos. In the West, the Reds were big winners at Houston. Atlanta hammered L.A., so that stays 6.5 between those two clubs. And a foul tip makes it 1-2.
You just saw Cito Gaston staring down there at Alfredo Griffin and Wally Joyner. They're not holding Alfredo on to protect the hole over there at first base. Alfredo, being the veteran that he is trying to time the pitcher and swipe that bag. It's a real risk situation, though. You can't get thrown out at second base and making out on the bases, and you're in jeopardy on the line drive double play. Yet, I think that if he gets a good jump, he's going to take the bag and have Devon White try to drive him in and get one run closer.
1-2 the count to White, who's 1 for 3 with a double, and he lines one into right center. That'll send Griffin over to third base. The Blue Jays have 2 men on, and the tying run coming up in the 8th inning.
You ask a lot of players this time of the season, are they watching the scoreboard? And anyone who says they're not is telling a little fib. Everyone watches that scoreboard, and when those that 6th spot showed up there for the New York Yankees, it put a little something in. And here's White getting jammed on a Meacham fastball, blooping it in, and Griffin, with the big lead at first base, takes third easily. So you have the middle of the lineup coming up. It's first and third and no outs, and the Blue Jays are going to give it one more try.
They've got their best hitters coming up. Roberto Alomar, Joe Carter, and Dave Winfield. Royals bullpen is busy again.
And that'll be Montgomery, and Hal went out there just to make sure if Roberto gets on quickly, that Montgomery will be ready to face Carter. This will be Meacham's last hitter if in fact Alomar gets on. It might even be his last hitter if he doesn't. Montgomery's been his closer, and with the right-handed hitters coming up, there's no one that Hal would rather have in there than Jeff Montgomery.
Alomar the hitter. The only problem is Montgomery pitched yesterday. Skippers like to save those closers until the late stages, and here we are in the 8th inning. There are nobody out. 6 outs to go in the ball game, and that's a tough decision.
It is a tough decision, but what I think Hal would be looking at here is that to win this game, strike one, Roberto thinks the ball's outside and maybe even a little up, but it doesn't matter. It's only 1-1. But what Hal's thinking about is he has to get the middle of the order out right now with the tying run at the plate, possibly with the tying run on base, and he'll use his best to do that and take his chances that he has enough to get through the bottom of the lineup in the 9th.
So a 9th inning approach to the 8th inning.
Exactly. He's trying to close this game here in the 8th.
1 ball, 1 strike. They're checking the runner at first, Devon White. They want to keep the double play in order in case Alomar hits a grounder. Meacham tails the fastball away, 2-1.
With the first baseman holding White on, it's very difficult to steal on Meacham. You just have to play that Alomar will not hit into a double play here, and you'll have that tying run coming up.
There's a shot to right field. It'll drive a run home, and around to third goes Devon White. The Jays are playing first and third, and they're back to within 2 runs with the tying runs on base. Alomar with his 63rd run batted in.
And you've seen Rusty Meacham get the ball up this entire inning, and that's a sign of him being tired. There it is again. Ball's up on a slider that just spins up there to Alomar. He's a terrific breaking ball hitter. I think you're going to see Maine go out to the mound here and give Montgomery a little extra time. But that's probably going to be it for not necessarily a tired Meacham from tonight, but a tired Meacham from pitching those 90 innings over the 55 games, 56 games that he's been called on to do that this year.
Yeah, anytime you get a reliever up in that 90 to 100 inning category with a month left in the season, that's a lot of work. I know Dwayne Ward of Toronto, who's pitched 100 innings each of the last 4 years, considers 100 a big workload, and that's till the 1st of October, which is still a ways away.
Yeah, and Dwayne Ward's a much bigger guy than Rusty Meacham. Hal's making that decision tough on himself. He's on the step, he's not on the step, and now here he comes. He knows what he wants to do. He'd rather not do it with no outs in the 8th inning, but I think he feels right here that this game's going to be won or lost by getting these next 3 right-handed hitters out, and he's going to go to his best to try to do that.
Montgomery is the best. 33 saves for the Royals right-hander. Tying runs on base when we come back. Second half of our doubleheader tomorrow night. Sheffield's 30th homer of the year and his RBI total right up there with the 94 of Darren Dalton atop the National League chart. But here in Kansas City, it's a former National Leaguer in the on-deck circle, a former National Leaguer in the batter's box, and the Royals closer with 33 saves on the mound, Jeff Montgomery. Tying runs on, nobody out in the top of the 8th.
You'll see him going.
There's the runner going, a strike, throw is short, and immediately Alomar erases the possibility of a double play.
Exactly, and he's that tying run, and you can't afford in the 8th inning to have Joe Carter hit into that double play with Alomar still on first base, and Cito does exactly what he has to do there. Swipe it on the first pitch, get that tying run in scoring position, and let Joe Carter go to work. I'd be very impressed to see him take at least one shot to right field right here.
It's over now in Baltimore. Yankees get 4 in the 13th and beat the Orioles by a 6-2 score. Boy, the complexion of this race could change in a hurry. It appears Carter will drive a run home with a fly ball. McRae, medium center. Here comes the runner. Throw is up the line and way short, and it's suddenly a 4-3 ball game. Joe Carter with his 101st RBI of the year. And a runner out at second base with 1 out. So about a half hour ago, it looked like the Orioles would win at home and maybe Toronto would lose here. Now it could be just the opposite.
And I think that scoreboard had a little something to do in getting the Blue Jays restarted here. That and Rusty Meacham throwing a lot of pitches up in the strike zone. But once again, there's a situation with that tying run at second base. Even though your big RBI hitter's up there, at least take one shot at hitting the ball where Alomar will get to third base. I like to think of that situation, second and third, just as though it's just a man on second. Erase the guy on third, nobody out, get him over. Let's see what happens. Here's Winfield and Olerud left to get the base hit to drive in that tying run.
That run charged to Meacham, who could be charged with Alomar's run. And that could take a win away from Jeff Reed. Winfield with 2 singles and 3 trips. And the one time he made it out, he scorched the ball harder than the other 2 times. A breaking ball for a strike. Actually, it's a slurve that Montgomery throws. He's not one of these blow him away with the fastball type closers. He's a breaking ball guy.
And he pitches a lot like one of his predecessors here, Steve Farr, in that he'll throw his fastball when he's ahead in the count, throws breaking ball when he's behind or even in the count. Alomar, being one of the best guys stealing third base in all of baseball, has got to be watched closely.
There's a fastball tailing wickedly inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Montgomery 33 saves last year in 39 opportunities. He's 33 out of 37 this season. He has filled the bill very nicely since Steve Farr departed for the Yankees.
And he's been durable, Bob. Those 100 innings have been something. He's checking Alomar, and Curtis Wilkerson's playing very close to the bag, feeling Winfield's going to pull the ball more than likely, and he has a chance of holding Roberto on, so he's playing twofold defense there.
1-1 pitch to Winfield. Breaking ball. Did he stop his swing? First base umpire Al Clark says don't even appeal it. It wasn't close. Never raised his hands.
Attaboy, Al.
Thus the count goes to 2-1. A walk, 2 singles, and a sac fly in the 8th inning. And Winfield throws the bat. It's foul, and it's strike 2.
Well, that's vintage Jeff Montgomery. He threw that fastball after he got ahead. No balls, 1 strike, and threw it inside off the plate to really set up his breaking ball when he's behind in the count, 2 balls, 1 strike. He had Winnie guessing that inside pitch, and he's way out in front of the breaking ball while he's ahead in the count. Now he leaves him guessing. 2-2, what are you going to do? Usually he goes fastball on 2-2 and break ball on 3-2. Let's see.
Tying run at second base with 1 out. 2 runs in here in the 8th for Toronto. Winfield waiting. Base hit left field. To third, Alomar. They will send him, and the Blue Jays will tie the game with a 3-run 8th inning. Still only 1 out, as Alomar, Carter, and Winfield all deliver runs batted in.
And what more can be said about Dave Winfield? He gets that 2-2 fastball. It's away. It's right on the black where Montgomery wanted it. He thought he'd paralyze Winfield after the breaking ball. But when he gets just enough on it, here it is, right on the corner. Boom. Oh, might have been a cut fastball, a little slider. Gets the base hit for the big RBI, and it's a brand new ball game.
Cal McRae quick with the hook tonight for Rick Reed. He has had a W taken away from him. 3 of the 4 runs charged to Rusty Meacham out of the bullpen. And now Montgomery faces John Olerud with 1 out and a runner at first base. Hits are even at 9. At one point, the hits were 9-4 Kansas City in this game.
And those wasted opportunities that Kansas City had earlier are coming back to haunt them. As I said, 3-0 was no indication how close the game was. It should have been a 6-0 game, and Morris out of there after 5. Instead, he hung on through 7, and here his team came back for that 4-4 lead tie game and looking at the lead.
Maine stepping out. Looked like he might have been crossed up a bit. 1 ball, 1 strike. You're reading my mind, Skipper, because my last thought was, yeah, guess who's still in this ball game? A guy named Morris, who scuffled all night, cursing at himself, fighting himself out there all night, and now he's in a position to possibly win the ball game in the 8th or the 9th inning.
We couldn't see him when he went into the dugout after the 7th, but along with that scoreboard, I'll guarantee you Jack Morris said something to his teammates about, okay, how about reaching down for a little extra right now, guys? And he probably wasn't alone in his sentiments, and there's a breaking ball just missing by Montgomery, but they're rallying around the flag right now and doing what a championship team needs to do, come back when they're on the road. Two and 1 to Olerud. Winfield off first, 1 out. Breaking ball hit off the fist. Pitcher kicks it down. There will be no play at first base. One of those plays when the middle infielders would have been better off had the pitcher not made contact with the ball. It was not hit that sharply, and Montgomery couldn't corral it. The ball's not hit at all. Off the end of the bat, it's a changeup going back to the mound. Montgomery tries to get his foot out of the way, doesn't clear his spikes. Consequently, the ball goes rolling on the turf, and so does Jeff. And boy, the trouble mounts. And the closer's in a tie game in the 8th inning, and Hal McRae is really wondering what went wrong. Maldonado due next. Hal McRae, a great hitting coach. But anybody who's ever managed a ball club at any level will tell you the toughest thing about managing is handling the pitching staff. Trying to make those decisions when people come into the game to replace your starter. When I saw Montgomery get up in the bullpen there in the 8th inning, I knew what Hal was thinking. And, you know, that's rolling the dice here at home. And right now they're coming up crap. Low and outside, ball 1 to Maldonado, who doubled a run home his last time. And there he is. His nostrils are flaring, and he can't wait to get out there for the bottom of the 8th inning. He might even have the lead the next time Jack Morris takes them out. And a foul on a breaking ball, 1-2. And speaking of bullpens, there's one thing Jack Morris knows, and that is Tom Hankey threw an inning and 2/3 last night, is probably not available tonight. if in fact he was, Jack might be bowing out right now and giving it to a fresh Dwayne Ward, knowing Hankey's in reserve. But right now, I feel Jack feels he has to go a little longer. There's Tom Hankey with the nervous legs saying, maybe I have one out, but definitely not one inning.
Well, Dwayne Ward has 10 saves. He's certainly capable if they can get it to the 9th inning. But they've got to take the lead first. 1-2 pitch.
Desperately wants to get out of this inning with a tie, and then decision time comes again. He needs someone to pitch the 9th if the game remains tie, and I love those decisions.
Montgomery shook off 2 signs of Brent Maine, and then a breaking ball was fouled off. It's a ball game that doesn't mean a whole lot down in Texas tonight, but the Red Sox have come up with a couple of runs in the 8th inning. Roger Clemens, Nolan Ryan, Jose Canseco's home debut. 1-2 pitch. And Candy Maldonado did a great job of laying off a nasty breaking ball.
Can't go 3-2 here. This, once again, that 2-2 pitch is the time to do your dance, and Jeff's got to make sure he's seeing the signs and throwing a strike. Make it happen right here.
And the battle continues. Kelly Gruber, the on-deck hitter.
Boy, a lot of pitches for Jeff, thinking he was going to come in and possibly get to close this game. I think that's out of the question right now, and he's trying to close this inning out. He's thrown 4 breaking balls in a row. He very well might want to waste that fastball inside to go with the 3-2 breaking ball, but that's really living dangerously.
2-2. Fastball misses. Bobby, will Cito Gaston have those runners moving here?
Yes, I think he definitely will. Candy's definitely a double play man. He's a strikeout man too, but I think you have to put your money on your hitter, a guy who's driven in runs, 61 of them all year for you, and get the runners in motion.
They started and then stopped, and a strikeout and a breaking ball. Maldonado can't believe it.
He threw his 2-2 fastball and his 3-2 breaking ball. He throws Candy at the plate, and I think here's the slider that starts off inside. It looks like a ball. It becomes a strike. He calls it strike 3. Candy can't believe it. I think that Jeff quick pitched Winfield, and he couldn't get a jump. Otherwise, they were off and running, and right now it might have been a blessing in disguise that they didn't.
It's up to Kelly Gruber. Greg Kosk punching out Maldonado. First pitch, center field. McRae drifting, and to the bottom of the 8th. This one will stay tied. But the Blue Jays come up with 3 runs on 4 hits, stranding 2. It's now all tied up. The home of the 1985 world champion Royals, that famed I-70 series when they beat the Cardinals in 7, coming from 3 games to 1 down to do it. Big member of that team is the leadoff man for the Royals in the 8th inning. George Brett will lead things off against Jack Morris. Jack has heated things up in the late going, Bobby. 6 in a row, and 3 of them on strikes.
And that's one of those things about taking a guy out. When he came out of the inning, the last inning, I'm sure Gaston said, hey, if we score 3, you're going back out there. If not, you had enough. And sure enough, they scored 3. He's there, and he gets a leadoff out.
Devon White puts away the George Brett fly ball. And we've got Wednesday night baseball coming up for you on ESPN as well. Triple header Labor Day, double header tomorrow, and a single game Wednesday night. Barry Larkin and the Reds against Terry Pendleton and the Braves. The pennant chase continues for Cincinnati. They've got some ground to make up. Some of you will see the Yankees at Baltimore, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 on the West Coast. ESPN Wednesday night baseball. Reds and Braves both won today, so the spread at the moment in the National League West, 6.5. The Reds have a long way to go. San Diego started today 7 back. Gary Miller on Baseball Tonight will have details on the Fay Vincent situation. There's the Red Sox picking up a couple at Texas in the late going. Mets winning, so all the National League baseball is over tonight. And those extra inning affairs that hurt the Pirates and Expos today. Little soft liner off Wally Joyner's bat, caught by Gruber, 2 down. And the momentum in this game has taken a gigantic shift toward Ontario.
Oh, what a difference. 5 straight strikes by Jack Morris. He didn't throw 5 strikes an inning back in inning 2, 3, and 4. And now with the score tied, he's coming right after the hitters. Newfound control, confidence, and everything else that goes with it against McReynolds.
Morris looking for his 19th win of the year tonight.
And I think that slider really did get his act together there in about the 5th inning. That was another slider for a called strike, and then he's in control.
Leading winner, excuse me, Bobby, the leading winner in the American League is Jack McDowell of the White Sox with 19. Kevin Brown will go for 19 this week for the Rangers. Roger Clemens in a good position for his 18th at Texas tonight, leading Nolan Ryan 2-0. 0-2 to McReynolds, and it's up high.
That's the first ball that he's thrown this inning. I think it was intentional, up and out of the zone, see if McReynolds was going to chase.
And McReynolds pops one up right field. Should be easy for Joe Carter. And Jack Morris has now retired 9 consecutive hitters. At one point he trailed 4-0. It's 4-4 heading into the 9th in Kansas City.
Already owns a piece of the record for consecutive strikeouts at 8, and he's going after it there with Downing, Palmeiro. These are consecutive batters. Canseco swinging. Ferris gives it a look on the corner. Reimer, Palmer, and Petrali. 1 shy of the record. He strikes out 7 in a row. Back to you.
That's why Bobby Valentine's here in Kansas City tonight. His team couldn't make contact.
Whew, every time I watch them, they score no runs. That game is on in the background here, folks, and we're watching them go down. But maybe they'll score tonight.
Well, there's the story of this one. RBI single, Joyner in the 1st. 2-run double, Maine in the 4th. RBI single, McReynolds in the 6th. And then the Blue Jays took over with Candy Maldonado driving a run home in the 7th. Alomar, Carter, and Winfield with 8th inning RBIs. Pat Borders leads off, and he golfs one to left field. Kevin McReynolds over to get it, 1 out.
They started him off with first pitch, off speed pitch down, and Borders was swinging. He hits it out there, 4-4 for the line score.
Well, a story of this one, a good outing by Kansas City's right-hander Rick Reed, but he was pulled when he was not in a whole lot of trouble. Then the bullpen failed. Jack Morris still hanging around with a chance to win the ball game, and the good nights by Wally Joyner of the Royals, Dave Winfield of the Blue Jays. Alfredo Griffin, the hitter. No balls, 1 strike.
And I was wrong again. That's Montgomery out there pitching tonight. I think it's a real chancy situation throwing this many. He'll need at least 1, maybe 2 days off after tonight. But strange things happen in September. And I looked down into the Blue Jay bullpen, and after they told us before the game that Henke would not be used tonight, lo and behold, he's trying to get it loose, see how he feels. Morris has thrown 98 pitches, and he'll be ready to go out there tonight.
Yeah, he can handle a lot more than that.
Oh, you bet.
He probably threw 70 of those in the first 5 innings. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that one is just outside the bag as Alfredo tried to bump a double into the left field corner. The best I've ever seen at that, taking swings like that and getting those kind of hits, Eddie Murray. He practices those in batting practice. You'll see him step into the cage and take all kind of goofy swings, trying to inside out the ball or reach for it and knock it on that bag at third base.
And that ball was just foul outside the bag. Eddie tries to do that on those off-speed pitches when he's out in front of the out in front of a breaking ball or a changeup, in practice, I have seen him, too, get out on his front foot, try to keep his weight back enough to just flick the ball the opposite way. Alfredo does that by choice. He bails out, leads with his hands, and drags the head of the bat. Consequently, unless it's a real off-speed pitch, as he takes ball 2, it's literally impossible for him to hit the ball to the right side. The old bail and whale trip.
There he goes again. He could look like about 5 or 6 different guys up there in any at bat. That time, he reminded me of the old National League batting champ, Matty Alou, chopping down on the ball and spraying it all over the place with Harry Walker, his mentor back in the 60s. Here's the 2-2. And this one time he gets one fair, just inside the line. Nick Reynolds over to get it. Griffin to second. Strong throw. Safe at second base. And then he stayed on the bag. Looks like Curtis Wilkerson arguing that he came off the bag and Curtis had tagged him.
Now, Curtis, I think, is saying, Bob, that he slid right into his glove. I think he's saying that he put his glove down there and Alfredo slid straight into his glove. He's showing him the spike marks. And Dale Ford saying, no, he was there ahead of time. Here it is. McReynolds picking up the ball, looking and seeing that the runner's running, and then coming up with a good strong throw right on the bag. Curtis takes it, slaps it down in front of the bag or on the bag. He says it's in front of the bag, and his spike was right on the glove, just as he's saying, and there he is, out again. His spike stuck in his glove, as Curtis was saying, and Curtis says, I'm not lying. His spike went in my glove, and he's out. And then he's saying he's out again as he comes off the bag. He took a big turn, slid, as the slide goes in. He's safe, but now he's out. No doubt about it. The spike is in the webbing, and there wasn't anything he could do. You might remember the Ken Herbeck play in the World Series, where he pushed the runner off the base. Here's the same situation. He beats the throw, but as Curtis comes up with his glove, so does the spike and foot of Alfredo Griffin. He's out, Curtis says. Look at him. Oh my gosh, that's a pretty good play. If you could work on it. I don't know how they would practice that. Kurt and Dale Ford just didn't see the completion of the play.
Well, with all that dust flying and the second baseman in front of the umpire, he obviously didn't see it.
Exactly. Dale had it called right that Alfredo beat the throw. The problem here is with the dust flying, as you say, Bob, Dale just didn't stay with the play. He didn't realize that as Curtis's glove came up, Alfredo's foot came with it. Now there's a man on second and one out. A good job of hitting by Alfredo Griffin.
Top of the order, Devon White. That call could mean a game in the standings in the American League East. We'll see. Devon White with a double, single, run scored in 4 trips. Lead run at second base, 1 out, top of the 9th. Runners going. Swing and a miss. Over to third. Out this time.
Very chancy play with 1 out and number 1, 2, and 3 coming up in your order. A tired reliever out there on the mound. Alfredo takes off. He might have beaten this throw, but I think you have to make it even closer than that. He gets a good jump with his walking lead. Maine throws the ball from his knees, and Jeffrey slaps the tag right on his forearm. You know, that play could be called either way. I think he's safe, but it's too close in that situation.
And umpires will normally call you out when the ball beats you there.
Exactly. And Gary was right on the play. It's literally impossible to tell exactly where the glove comes down, and the throw beat him. He's out. He's got to make it closer than that.
I suppose that's what you call tempting fate. Lucky to be safe at second, he gets himself punched out at third.
Exactly so.
3 balls and a strike to Devon White. So the Blue Jays lose that potential lead run here in the 9th inning, and I'm sure they've got us on in the clubhouse in Baltimore. And the Orioles are saying, what is he doing?
You're saying thank you. I was looking at the on-deck hitter and figuring Devon White doesn't have that good a chance of getting a hit against Montgomery and all of his breaking balls. But Alomar, being as good a breaking ball hitter as he is, I'm thinking ahead, wondering if they're going to walk him and get at Carter. And sure enough, the outs made at third base, and all that's for naught.
And now one of the best hitters in baseball may not even bat in the inning and may not bat the rest of the night if the Royals score in the bottom, if Alomar stays in the on-deck circle. We'll see.
Key point, Bob, exactly.
Three balls and 2 strikes. Devon White needs to get aboard. And he will do so with a base hit to right field. Now we'll see if Alomar gives him a pitch or two to get to second base and give him a chance for the RBI. First, let's check in with John Saunders.
Budweiser taking us to San Francisco, where Sheffield has a homer, Jackson has a homer, and now Gerald Clark has a homer. The difference with his, the bases were loaded. The grand slam on his 11th home run of the year. 7-0 in the 4th. Bob and Bobby.
All right, John, thank you very much. San Diego has to win to stay 7 back of Atlanta. But you know who was happiest about that home run? A guy named Art Howe down in Houston, Texas. His young ball club 5 games ahead of those Giants in 4th place. That could be a nice stroke for the Astros if they can finish at the upper echelon of that second division of that West.
And a good feather in Artie's cap. He worked so hard down there to get that team to respectability, and now they are just that. And you know, tip of the cap to Artie Howe. He's done a fine job with that Astro club.
Former coach of yours in Texas. And Alomar up there, still awaiting the first pitch as Montgomery has checked the runner, Devon White.
And this is a tired Jeff Montgomery going 3-2 on Devon White, coming in with a fastball, not throwing a breaking ball with Alomar on deck and giving up a hit. And now White will be going.
Well, they've got to respect Alomar's power and play him fairly deep. And on the wet outfield, if White gets down to second base, any hit that reaches the turf out there will probably drive in the run.
The only way to stop White from going right here is to have Montgomery short step him and quick pitch to home, and then you're in jeopardy and losing your stuff to Alomar, where he could get that extra base hit to drive him in. White's on first. He has a good lead.
Number 10 in the league in steals with those 31. Letter high fastball taken. Alomar thought the ball was high. Greg Kosk established a low strike zone early. Candy Maldonado was struck out on a breaking ball he felt was high and inside.
You are exactly right. That's the conversation going on at home plate right now. Roberto's saying that ball's been a ball all night. Why are you calling it now? I thought it was a strike, though.
1-1. And, of course, the caught stealing at third looms large. Alfredo Griffin would have scored easily on that base hit by Devon White. Little humpback liner into right field that there would have been no chance at all for a play at the plate. But this one still tied with 2 outs in the 9th. White holding. They pitch out, ball 2.
I don't know if you have an angle on that, and I don't want to ask for it because I know the situation here tonight, but Maine once again jumped out with both feet after he gave that signal, and I think Bobby Baylor down there coaching first base just called it off. Devon took his 2 strides like he was going to go, but he called it off real quickly knowing it was a pitch out. Now it's 2-1. Once again, it's a must-steal situation. He's running right here, and hopefully for the Jays he'll swipe it. And hopefully for the O's, he gets thrown out or Alomar pops it up.
Orioles losers at home in extra innings to the Yankees. At the moment, 2 out, with Toronto playing in a tie ball game here in KC. Runners going. Bunted foul.
Well, I don't like that play. I could guarantee you that that's one that would have me scratching my head as a manager, and probably has Cito scratching his head also. The best that's going to do is keep White in scoring position and let Joe Carter, of course he has the 100 RBIs, let him drive him in, but Alomar is very capable of driving that ball in the gap or taking a pitch, letting White steal it, and getting a 2-strike base hit. I'm not in favor of a 2-out bunt there at all.
Can't bunt now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. White at first, running. And a little pop-up left side. He had him fooled. Might have been a changeup. Greg Jeffries has it. And the Blue Jays waste a golden opportunity to take a lead into the bottom of the 9th inning. 2 hits, 1 runner caught stealing, 1 stranded. They left 7, 4-4, bottom of the 9th. A little bit of everything going on here Labor Day night in Kansas City. A 4-4 game into the bottom of the 9th. Blue Jays have now out-hit the Royals 11-9. Royals have not had a hit since Toronto had only 4 hits in the game. So it's been a total change of momentum. But here's Kansas City with a chance to win it. Bottom of the 9th. Brent Mayne, Kevin Kozlowski, and Brian McRae. Yes, he's still here. Jack Morris. Mayne 1 for 3 with a 2-run double.
That's as bad as he's missed in about 3 innings, Bob. Let's see if he can get right back on track and start throwing strikes again.
Well,
slider.
He should be working with a 1-0 lead right now. If the Blue Jays had taken the lead, would Cito Gaston have brought in Tom Henke? We'll never know.
Not at least until next inning.
We could find out in the 10th if it goes that far. 1 ball, 1 strike to Brent Mayne. And the forkball in the dirt, 2-1. Jack Morris probably up around 110, 15 pitches now. Well, it only seems that way, a little less. And that one down low, ball 3.
One of those questions by Pat Porter would jump up to catch that pitch like that. And I guess it wasn't that close. Thought it was going to be in the dirt. Big pitch here.
Bouncer. Looks like a hit into the hole. Griffin can do nothing. And the Royals have the winning run aboard, leading off the bottom of the 9th.
Here's Mayne going with the pitch again. That's 2 hits in a row going the other way. And he gets that ball through the hole between third and short. Now you're down at the bottom of the lineup. Eisenreich is in the dugout to be the left-handed pinch hitter. Hal will probably get him loose if he's healthy and ready to go.
Now, we were told before the game that Jim Eisenreich would be added to the active list along with Terry Shumpert just before game time. We have not received official word of that, I must add. We were told that. So Eisenreich may be available for left-handed pinch hitting duty here in the 9th inning, and he would be the only left-hander they have on the bench. Kozlowski, a left-handed hitter. Brian McRae, a switch hitter to follow. So is David Howard, who follows him.
I have to see how much confidence he has in this rookie that just got called up, whether or not he takes the bunt off and puts on the hit and run. I think he'll stick with the bunt and try to play it safe. No, there's a hit and run.
And that will keep them out of the force. No, it won't. And it can't even keep them out of the double play. A 4-6-3 engineered by the diving Alomar.
Well, we saw one turn by Oakland, the first place team in the West, with Weiss and Bordick going over the first for 2. But you can't top this with Alomar coming in, thinking about having the runner run into him. But no, he flips it backhand to Griffin, who without a step throws on the first to get an outstanding big 9th inning double play. That play's supposed to be man on second and 1 out. But Roberto Alomar turned 2 in from 1. Great play.
Bases empty, 2 outs. Brian McRae, the hitter. Bobby, I'm a little surprised Hal McRae did not run for Brent Mayne. He's got 2 more catchers on the bench. He's got Gary Thurman down there who can fly, winning run in the 9th inning. That might have made the difference on that play.
Well, that's why I figured he was going to stay with the bunt and then maybe pinch run when he got to second base and keep his best defensive catcher in the game. I looked down to see who they had, and they had plenty to run. But he took the bunt off, went to the hit and run, and got burned big time.
McFarland and Melvin, the other Kansas City catchers. And a ball foul. He has Gary Thurman, who can fly. Keith Miller, who's a much better than average runner. But the 4-6-3 double play puts this game 1 out from extra innings and keeps Toronto's chances alive No matter who was running, great play by Alomar.
Great play.
Here's the 0-2. And down in the dirt.
Jack Morris is like that running back who breaks into the clear and sees the goal line 5 yards ahead. He could smell pay dirt right here, and he's going after these hitters.
Yeah, he got sacked about 4 times in the early going. He's come back.
Yeah, he has.
To keep his team in a position to win. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Royals need the speedy McCray aboard here. Line drive caught by Olerud. A little looper. And the 9th inning is over. Royals get the leadoff man aboard. He raced in a double play. And through 9, it's a 4-4 game at Royals Stadium. We're on to the 10th inning, and local product Steve Shiflett, hard-throwing right-hander, will take over against Joe Carter, Dave Winfield, and John Olerud. Shiflett was purchased from Omaha the 3rd of July, 3-2 with 14 saves for the AAA ball club of the Royals.
And he's pitched well for the Royals since he's been up in 25 games. His last couple outings, he's been very effective. He seems to have that tough pitch on right-handers. He drops down a little, throws the slider that breaks away. It happens to be right in Joe Carter's zone, so he better establish that sinker inside before he goes out there. But Shiflett's in the game, and it's tied at 10.
Overtime has not been kind to contenders on Labor Day. The Pirates, Expos, and Orioles have already lost extra inning games on this holiday. We'll see how the Blue Jays fare on the road. Those other 3 all lost at home. Joe Carter will lead things off. Carter, a sac fly 2 innings ago. 1 ball, 1 strike. That was the second of 3 runs batted in for the Jays in the 8th inning. Alomar, Carter, and Winfield with the RBIs. And tonight's game, rather worthy of note. Coming into the ball game, Jeff Montgomery of the Royals had made 56 appearances. Tonight is the first time all year he will appear and not finish the ball game.
No, that is of note. And there's the breaking ball they dropped down on and threw the ball, so it went further outside. It started off a strike and became a ball, and that's where you have to throw it to Carter. Don't start it off a ball and make it a strike.
2-2 pitch. Jack Morris, his battery mate Pat Porter's, they've been through a lot together tonight. Jimmy Key sitting alongside. And here's the 2-2. Carter hangs tough. That one got Brent Maine. The initials of Joe Burke, who passed away earlier this year, on the sleeves of the Royals in memoriam this year. And to the right side, Curtis Wilkerson, better hurry. Winfield is, Carter rather, safe at first base. Well, you could see that one developing as far as Wilkerson had to go. Then he had to throw back across his body, and Joe Carter, who still runs well, able to beat it out.
Finally came in with the inside fastball. He jams Joe. As Curtis goes over, catches the ball behind the line in the outfield, can't get enough on the throw. Joe beats it out with great hustle. And he's on base leading off the inning, and you know, that's a championship team, it seems, trying to do whatever it takes. Get jammed, don't give up, go as hard as you can, and be on first to lead off that inning.
Now Winfield stepping in. Boy, Toronto really coming alive. The Blue Jays with 10 of their 13 hits in their last 5 innings at the plate.
And their first 5 innings seemed to be just an exercise in offensive fertility. They couldn't execute, leaving men on base, not getting men over. But, you know, there's Dave Winfield thinking about sacrificing Carter to second base. Interesting play. This guy's tough on Winfield. this type of pitcher is tough on Winfield. You've seen him throw his bat over the years at that breaking ball away, and usually he gets about 120 feet on the distance. The bat, that is.
Winfield with a fly ball to left center. Not much carry on it. In fact, it's slicing right back to Brian McRae for the second out. That was the first time Winfield saw Shiflett this year, because the last time the Blue Jays were here was in June, and Shiflett didn't come up with a big club until early July. So that was a sort of a weird-looking fly ball that started for the gap and sliced right back to the center fielder.
Yeah, David's disappointed because he showed that bunt on the first pitch and then thought he'd get a fastball. Next pitch he got a breaking ball again and just was late on his inside out. Fly ball to center. It's up to Olerud to do something with Carter on first, who can steal a base.
One out, one on. John Olerud. Oh.
That was Shiflett stepping off before he turned to first, and real close to being a balk. You have to clear that rubber when you do that, and he's way down in front of the rubber when he starts his motion.
Fastball missing outside.
Well, as they're timing these pitchers to the plate, as most teams do, you have a Shiflett at about a 1.35 to 1.4, which makes it pretty easy to steal on if, in fact, you start when you should, and it counts 1-1. Breaking ball count. Good time to go, Joe. Of course, that takes the hole away on AstroTurf, and that first and third situation might not occur when the bullpen has Ward and Hankey getting loose. So the answer is there, Robert. Tom Hankey is up.
Olerud bounces one. Ooh, just foul outside the bag. That'll be a close call, strike two. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Carter will return back to first. Extra inning games this year. Blue Jays have been involved in 7 of them. They've won 6. The Royals have won only 2 out of 10. And a young fan hanging tough on a long, cool night now at the ballpark.
She likes extra innings. She says, I love this game.
Kids will do anything to keep from going to bed. Here's the 1-2, and that one way upstairs.
2-2. What are you going to do? Carter's checking the signs. Cito might wait until 3-2. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, he's going to wait.
Now McRae has seen a 4-run lead disappear. Now it's an extra inning game. Olerud, a high chopper out towards short. Howard to Wilkerson, and the relay in time. 6-4-3 go the Royals. They turn a dandy of their own on a ball not hit that hard. Bottom of the 10th coming up. Howard will lead it off in the top of the order. It's still 4-4. One of the busiest relief pitchers in all of baseball the last several years. 83 innings this year. 4 consecutive innings, way up over 100. Dwayne Ward, the Toronto Blue Jays hard-throwing setup man, who can close a ball game when Cito Gaston needs him to.
Bobby's nasty. He throws that hard sinker, the hard slider. All of his pitches move an enormous amount. Left-handers hit him a little better than right-handers, and the Royals will be marching their left-handed brigade up there at him. So let's see if they can get on the board against a real tough relief pitcher, Dwayne Ward. That double play started by the shortstop and over to Curtis. Dan, that last inning was another thing of beauty. What did you call it in between innings, Bob?
We've dubbed it double play Labor Day.
We've had 3 beauties, and Curtis was off the ground last inning, turning 2 in the middle of that 6-4-3, and You can't ask for anything more than your infielders doing what it takes, whatever it takes, to get the double play.
And on double play Labor Day, a 4-6-3 in Texas has just taken care of the Rangers as the Red Sox have won that ball game down there. So twin killings all over the place tonight, and David Howard will be the leadoff man in the 10th inning against Dwayne Ward. A little late on that one.
That's a little firmer than Jack was. That's probably 5 miles an hour faster than Jack Morris, with the ball moving away from the left-handed hitter. And Dwayne Ward's healthy, and that's most all of the time. He's as good as there is.
Inside corner. Go around on that one. You'll have to go back for a new bat. 9 innings for Jack Morris tonight. 4 runs on 10 hits, a walk, and 6 strikeouts. Exactly what Bobby Valentine talked about in our opening tonight. Morris was not at his best tonight, and he gets his team into extra innings with a chance to win. He yields to Dwayne Ward, who strikes out David Howard.
The third baseman, Greg Jeffries.
That's a pretty nasty split-finger 2-strike pitch right here. Overmatch once again, and don't feel like the Lone Ranger, because he's done that to many a big league hitter. Here's Jeffries, who's got to be sitting on that fastball. He's a good fastball hitter, and the first one he gets, he's got to try to put it in the gap.
When you see a pitch move that wickedly on the slow motion replay, you can't even imagine what it's like to try to hit it.
Well, usually you can't. It's another one of those pitches. It looks like a strike, and right at the end, that last 8 or 10 feet, it becomes a ball, and you can't check your swing, and it's very difficult to put it in play, and it's made a difference. That split finger has made a difference in hitters.
Jeffries, high chopper to third. Gruber backs up, has time. Good arm, throws him out. 2 down. Royals need a base runner if George Brett is to bat in this 10th inning. Robin Yount collected career hit number 2,998 today as the Milwaukee Brewers beat Cleveland 2-0. George Brett collected number 2,978. And that was about 3 hours ago.
Little Daddy will be jumping at that fastball, too.
Curtis Wilkerson, but it's low and inside.
It's interesting on AstroTurf that they're guarding the line with Wilkerson hitting here and Brett on deck. You know, there's so many schools of thought on that, Bob, but when you give a little extra hole to a hitter who's a singles hitter and allow that extra base hitter to come up and possibly score that guy on a gapper, I think you're living in a little jeopardy, and Cito chooses to do that here, and obviously he's won a lot of games over the last few years doing it that way, but it does lead some doubt where I think you should take that hole away and get Wilkerson out.
2-1 pitch coming. Ball 3, low and inside.
More hitters have learned to do that. Take an inside pitch and be jumping away as you do it, and the umpire very often will call it a ball. It's 3-1.
Ball 4. The on-deck hitter will bat in the inning. George Brett will get a chance with the winning run aboard. 2 outs, bottom of the 10th.
And the fans have stayed to see this at-bat. I'll bet they'll be exiting after it, whether or not the winning run is scored or not. But he is their favorite, and he's one of those guys that every baseball fan in America would pay to see, and yours truly included. Crunch time with George Brett, just the way he likes it.
A base hit, then 3 fly balls. Wilkerson 90 feet ahead of him on the bases here. Wilkerson was on first base when George had an inside the park homer yesterday. Strike 1. He kidded before the game that he got around the bases so fast he was drafting Curtis Wilkerson, breaking the wind right on the heels of Curtis to score on the inside the parker. I would have to say that replays show otherwise.
And with 16 stolen bases, Curtis is out there, the biggest leg kick on the Toronto team other than Hanky. But they don't want to take the bat out of George's hand, so he's staying there.
Yeah, Wilkerson does not even have a big lead, and that was a breaking ball, maybe the splitter that made it no balls, 2 strikes. So George has his work cut out for him here. 20 hits behind Robin Yount, 22 for the 3,000 mark.
And now with 2 strikes where they would not walk George intentionally, you might see Curtis off to the races. 2 smaller lead.
Those eyes, so many years. Those hitting eyes and that batting stance, helped by the late Charlie Lau.
And here, something bit George right at the plate, right before Ward was ready to throw.
Well, this ballpark got attacked by bugs the other night. That looked like a pretty big one. A couple of those could carry George off into the bullpen. No balls, 2 strikes. He's coming home, and on a high fastball, Brett is angry as at himself as he went chasing. Now we're through 10 innings here in Kansas City. 2 Ks by Dwayne Ward. Royals have stranded their 5th runner of the night. It's still 4-4. Cubs and Pirates, after their extra inning affair today, will hook up tomorrow on ESPN. First game of our doubleheader. And then Gary Sheffield and the Padres. Will Clark and the Giants, 10:30 Eastern Time, the West Coast nightcap. 7:30 for you folks out there on the coast. That's our Tuesday night doubleheader coming up on ESPN. Padres have a bunch of homers tonight. Sheffield has hit one of those. And, of course, the Cubs today beat the Pirates in 11, 6-5 at Three Rivers. They got 3 in the 11th. Pirates battled back with 2, but fell a little bit short. Top of the 11th here in Kansas City, Candy Maldonado, the leadoff man for the Royals. Excuse me, for the Blue Jays against the Royals right-hander Steve Shiflett. First look the Jays have had at this right-hander this year. It's only the 4th game they've played in Kansas City. Maldonado, Gruber, and Borders, 3 right-handers for the Jays in the 11th inning. That one looked like a sidearm breaking ball that was fouled. 1-2.
That's one of those breaking balls, Bob, that starts at the hitter and breaks right down the middle, and Candy just couldn't wait long enough. He took his overswing and hit the ball a little out in front of the plate for a foul. He's had that inside fastball and breaking ball away and the breaking ball right at him. I think he's going to go with that breaking ball away right now and make him look a little silly.
Well, he jammed it.
Candy was thinking with me and luckily got a piece of that inside fastball.
Yeah, that's the kind of pitch when a hitter will jam himself because he has that idea that the pitcher's going away. Maldonado hits it fairly well out into right center. It's in front of the glove of McRae. And the Blue Jays have the lead run aboard leading off the 11th inning. Maldonado with his second base hit. He's gone to right center field both times.
And that's why he got jammed on that inside pitch. He was looking for the breaking ball away. He got it. McRae comes up short one more time, but short hops the ball, makes a good play, keeping the ball in his glove and in the ballpark and keeping Candy at first base.
Boy, did you see that little splash as it came up off the turf? Brian McRae, very fortunate to glove that one cleanly. That could have been 3 or 4 bases. Kelly Gruber.
With the bottom of the order coming up, Kelly's not bunting in this situation, and Cito, as I mentioned earlier in the show, is really hoping that Kelly could get on track. Maybe a double right here and a winning run scoring would be just what the doctor ordered for Kelly Gruber to kick it in for the last few weeks of the season and hopefully into playoffs.
Up the middle, could be 2. Howard, Wilkerson, safe at first base. David Howard had a long way to go up the middle, and Wilkerson had to make almost a complete turn for the relay. They'll settle for the 6-4.
There was a double clutch there on the play. Howard, if he fields it cleanly and gets the feed right here, it's okay, but he bobbles the ball in his glove and gets Curtis almost killed by Maldonado coming in. It's close at first. Nonetheless, Kelly legging it out and saving 2, but still not taking the good swing that you need in that situation from a Kelly Gruber in the 10th inning of a tie game. 11. Check that.
Porter's the hitter with Gruber at first.
Here's one of those plays that really is a pet peeve of mine. You're supposed to step off before you break your hands, and so many pitchers break their hands and then step off, and the balk's not called. And
high drive by Borders. Looks like it'll stay in play. David Howard, the shortstop, foul ground, 2 down. Of course, Bobby, I'm not sure we've seen anything in baseball more absurd than what we saw. Was it 87 or 88 when they started calling balks like crazy? I know you had Charlie Huff on your staff, and that year just about drove you crazy.
Yeah, the year of the balk was something to remember for sure. I think Charlie got called for 5 in one game, and it did take the extent of the rule to a ludicrous state, I guess, and we'll never return to those days. Yet let's read the rule as it is and step off before you break your hands. And there he did. He did step with his foot and then came up, but you know, it's an unfair advantage that the pitcher has if in fact he doesn't do it that way. I think Kelly's going to go here, but if he gets thrown out, that's going to lead Alfredo to lead off, and I don't think Cito wants that.
Griffin bouncer, that's got a chance, but over to get it, Wilkerson, but he can't make contact. And over to third base, Kelly Gruber. Wilkerson got there, but it took a big hop off the turf, and it glanced off Wilkerson's glove, and that's the lead run in Gruber's presence over at third base.
Curtis has got to make this play. He's on the full run, and the ball does take a big hop, but it's right off of his glove. And I think he was just going for the exchange a little sooner than he had to, knowing Alfredo gets down the line quite quickly. He was throwing it before he caught it. The rule number 1 of the Little Leaguers rule, catch it before you throw it. And right there, Curtis had one go off his glove errantly, and that brings up Devon White.
110th error of the year by the Royals defense. We'll see if the Blue Jays can take advantage. Devon White at the plate, runners at the corners, 2 down. Tie game in the 11th inning.
And you have all your plays once again being signaled by the pitcher, by the catcher, men on first and third. What are we going to do with the ball if the runner from first takes off? The infield has to be in sync. All kinds of plays that happen here. Delayed steal. Billy Martin used to use the play with the right-handed pitcher where the runner at first would fall down, or the runner at first would break and the third baseman break off of him. In this situation, they're going to let him hit.
Devon White, foul ball into the corner.
And possibly with Gruber at third, you'll see something happen with the runner at first if 2 strikes occur. But until then, I think they'll let Devon White try to drive these runs in, at least one of them.
1 ball, 1 strike. Shiflett throws it low and inside. And a little grounder to the right side. Wilkerson throws out White, and the Blue Jays strand 2 in the 11th inning. So on to the bottom of the 11th we go. It's still 4-4 in Kansas City. Well, the Fountains have been working hard all night long here at Royal Stadium. To the bottom of the 11th, this one goes. Bob Carpenter, Bobby Valentine, we didn't tell you you'd have to work this long on your first night, did we?
Well, they're not getting paid for overtime, and I wouldn't expect to either. This is fun. I'd be at the ballpark all night long if I could, and as long as they keep the lights on and they're out there playing that game, I guess we're here working.
And the Royals will go to work at the plate with their 4, 5, and 6 hitters, Wally Joyner, Kevin McReynolds, and Brent Maine in the 11th inning.
Leading off for the Royals, the first baseman, Wally Joyner.
I saw Sam Horn hit a couple of balls out into that fountain in right field on the first day ESPN ever carried Major League Baseball. Opening day, 1990, right here. A day to remember. We went 12 innings that day, so I guess there's something about this ballpark.
And I saw Oddibe McDowell hit a Quisenberry changeup into the second fountain in right field. One of the furthest balls I've ever seen hit besides Bo Jackson's at this ballpark.
Bo hit one up top of the hill on the left field side. That's probably the worst thing that ever happened to Oddibe. You never could get him to be a little punch leadoff hitter, could you?
Exactly. I mean, he really liked that home run. And Wally Joyner did not like the strike call.
The count goes to 1-1.
I don't know what the difference is, Mr. Koss, because Wally didn't like the call, and I think Craig Koss has had a heck of a game tonight. He's called a lot of strikes. Here's a pitch by Ward, and it's low, but he's called a lot of pitches. He's into his 300th pitch, and if you miss one for strike one, what's the big deal? Still have 2 left. I really believe that, and it's no time to gripe. Now, strike 3, I think that calls for a little something to be said, but Wally's too good a hitter to worry about just that strike 1.
One ball and 2 strikes to the leadoff man in the 11th. Wally Joyner has a good night going. 2 singles, a double, an RBI, 2 runs scored. He's been in on 3 Kansas City rallies tonight, all 3 of them, in fact. And he tries to pull that outside pitch. Alomar, better hurry. Got him by a step. 1 out.
Now Wally just has to be careful not to say anything out of the dugout after making an out, because sometimes the hearing gets a little tuned up after a little confrontation, and then a player makes an out, you know. So don't say anything now, and Wally's too much of a pro to do that.
I think he went into the tunnel there, and that's probably a pretty good idea. Go holler at somebody in there. Kevin McReynolds has about a 55-foot fastball hit in front of him, so some of the fans give Kosk some heat about the location of that one. Kevin McReynolds with a 2 for 4 night. 2 singles, an RBI, and a run scored. And a Dwayne Ward breaking ball at the knees. Kevin late on the fastball. 1-2.
Yet I think that was his pitch. I think Kevin would like to have that one back. Dwayne Ward has really good breaking stuff. McReynolds not being a good breaking ball hitter, and now with the count 1-2, he's wishing he had that fastball back.
This one is fair. Wicked hop, and Gruber stays with it. Low throw, Olerud scoops, and 2 down. Kelly Gruber stayed right with that wicked shot. That's why they call it the hot corner. And John Olerud made a nice pick.
And there's a situation with the singles hitters coming up next and the double hitter at the plate in McReynolds. Gruber's on the line and makes a really fine play, throwing it across, and Olerud saving the one hopper there, picking it out of the dirt.
Gruber often booed by Toronto fans this year. He's having an off year. They've been on him up at the Sky Dome. You pay those kind of prices, you want entertainment.
And everyone's wondering what happened. He has been injured. He hurt his hand, hurt his arm a little, and his leg too, but he's just not the same Kelly Gruber.
Fastball inside corner. Brett Maine with a 2-hit night. Middle of the Royals order has been fine this evening, but they've only had 1 hit since the 6th inning. Jack Morris cooled them off. Dwayne Ward has iced them here in extra innings. And now it's 1-2. Looking ahead to the Blue Jay 12th, if it goes that far, Alomar, Carter, and Winfield. 2, 3, and 4 coming up. And a nasty breaking ball. Dwayne Ward with his 3rd strikeout in 2 innings. He's only given a walk over that time. And now we've played a even 11 innings here. On to the 12th. It'll be Alomar leading off 4-4. Well, there's the 4th, make it the 5th Kansas City pitcher of the night. Mike Magnanti will take over for the Royals in the 12th inning. He makes his 38th appearance of the year. And the 3-7 record. He's been a setup man and a long man. He's the only left-hander they have out of their bullpen now since they sent Mark Davis to Atlanta in that Juan Berenguer trade.
And he's worked both out of the bullpen and as a starter. He's been relatively effective out of the bullpen, yet of late he's been getting racked, and right now he's going to go right through the heart of a right-handed hitting Toronto lineup, and you better be careful.
Royals warming up, nobody else. Alomar, Carter, and Winfield.
Well, those missed opportunities again, the offensive inefficiency of the Blue Jays have allowed them to be here late in the game, and then the missed opportunities early by the Kansas City Royals. Really, it's been an even game, both on the scoreboard and on the missed opportunities, but right now they're playing head-to-head with Alomar leading off the inning.
Fastball to Roberto. A 1-for-5 night. Single, stolen base, RBI, and run scored. This guy's got some heat. He can get in on those right-handed hitters.
He's really sneaky with his fastball. He's not afraid to throw it inside, and he's got to be, just has to be careful that it doesn't leak back over the middle of the plate.
Alomar's lost a couple of points off that .324 batting mark. Came in as the league's number 4 hitter.
And that last at-bat still has me baffled. Bunning with a 2-ball 1-strike count, and White running and 2 outs. That's another one he wishes he had back, I guarantee, as he fouls off another 2-2 pitch.
Well, that was a 9th inning of weird plays. After Alfredo Griffin doubled with 1 out, was caught stealing at 3rd for the 2nd out.
With a left-handed hitter up.
Yeah, who singled. Alomar fouls another one out of play, and then Alomar with that runner, Devon White at first, in a count of 2 balls and a strike, tried to bunt his way on. Before he fouled out to the 3rd baseman. And 3 innings later, we're still here.
Yes, we are.
2-2 the count. And that one low and inside, ball 3. Grounder to the left of the 3rd baseman. Jeffrey scoops it up to his left. Nicely done. What about Jeffries defensively, Bobby? He took some heat in New York about his defense, and now playing on the very quick surface here.
Well, I think he's gotten better. He's learned to stay down on this AstroTurf. He moved, very well to his left there and had his glove down, made a good, accurate throw. He thinks he's still learning the position. At times, it looks like it's going to take a long time to learn it, but I think he's starting to get comfortable, and he could swing that bat.
So can Joe Carter. And now he's upset at Greg Cox. You better smile, Joe. This umpire's just about had enough.
I think you're exactly right, Bob. I think the next one to question him is going to go inside and watch it on the monitor.
And it might be Cito.
There it is. There it is.
And now Rich Hacker's getting into it.
I think Rich is the one to go. And Cito's now trying to be the peacemaker, but it must have come from third base. And Koss said, I had enough from you, and Cito didn't get out there on time. He's had enough, and I don't blame him. You know, over 300 pitches. He's called a couple of questionable pitches, I think low possibly, but golly, Cito just feels that he should get a better look at it.
Well, I'm sure that part of Cito's argument here is, how can this many hitters be wrong?
Well, that's what he's saying. And as Magnanti throws this pitch, the target's on the inside half. It goes low. Joe smiles. Hacker at third base realizes that it's low. He says something that he probably shouldn't, or just says something at all.
The only reason Joe's still in this game is because he was smiling.
Exactly so.
If he takes that one seriously, he's history.
And Rich is the one to go. He just didn't get out there on time. That is, Cito didn't distract Koss from Hacker's yelling.
Now there's Bob Baylor, who's normally the first base coach. Bob, of course, was a minor league manager at Syracuse last year, so he has a lot of experience coaching third because minor league managers do that. We'll see what Cito does with his coaches here.
I think Bobby will go to third, and Gene Tennis will go to first. And it reminds me, my first year coaching third with the Mets, Bobby Baylor is on a very good, aggressive base runner. He was going on a hit and run. The ball was hit into the gap in left center field. I didn't get far enough down the line, and I went to hold him up while still looking at the ball in the outfield, and he ran dead straight into me, and I did a forward back roll on the turf at St. Louis. Great play, Bob.
No balls, one strike on Joe Carter. Bounces up the middle, stabbed by Magnanti, 2 down. Don't say anything when you run by, Joe. Not a word. And Winfield will step up.
He is smiling, but he's smiling in frustration because he complained about the pitch being low and then swung at the same pitch to bounce out off of a pitcher that I think he should feast on. And here's Winfield trying to make up for it.
Well, it just goes to show how important the count is in baseball. 1-0 and 0-1 is a big difference. It's a 2-pitch swing, really. Totally changes the at-bat. And Winfield in disgust, grunting as he pops one up. Curtis Wilkerson has it. Blue Jays gone in the 12th, and we're headed to the bottom of the 12th with the bottom of the Kansas City batting order. It's still 4-4 in KC. Toronto Blue Jays have made it through 11 innings with only 2 pitchers tonight. Here's the third who comes on, left-hander David Wells. Like Magnanti, a guy who has started and relieved in his career, a very fiery left-hander who throws hard, and he'll be facing at the bottom of the Royals batting order, a bunch of left-handed hitters, and we'll see if Hal McRae turns things around a little bit. I see Gary Thurman swinging a bat down there as this one goes to the bottom of the 12th.
Yeah, it looks like we'll have Thurman leading off the inning. Who's a real fast runner, pretty good hitter against left-handed pitchers, and an outstanding defensive outfielder. He's going to be leading it off, trying to get on for McRae, and then the top of the order to see what could happen here with David Wells, who's a real tough pitcher. I mean, he throws hard. He has a good breaking ball. He's a great competitor, and his only problem thus far this year has been he's competed with himself a lot and also with his teammates and his manager, and got him in the doghouse for a little while.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a 12-inning game where the first extra player to appear was in the 12th inning. We've had some relief pitchers, but no position players have changed in the batting order until this at-bat by Thurman.
Great point. That's a great point, Bob, and maybe that's the magic that Hal needs, Gary Thurman.
It's also the influence of the DH that pops up from time to time. Thurman wants the Royals left fielder of the future. But then a guy named Bo showed up, and Thurman was relegated to backup duty. He requested a trade recently when he was pinch hit for, get this, in the first inning of a game against the Milwaukee Brewers on July 12th. The bases were loaded. A couple of runs were already in. They brought in a right-hander, and Hal McRae pinch hit for him before he could ever get up there. He went in to see Herc Robinson and said, I want out. He has not been happy around here for a couple of years, and I guess that must have been the icing on the cake.
Well, I think that would change your plans for the night, if in fact that happened. Wow.
Fastball up and in.
I'm not sure I ever heard of that before, Bobby. Not even pitchers get pitched hit for in the first inning.
Except in the All-Star game.
That's right again.
1-2 to Thurman, who's got good speed. And Wells bounces a breaking ball, 2-2.
That pitch has gotten him out of the starting rotation. That is the bounced breaking ball, not being able to control it. And he's been pitching better out of the bullpen where he could just rely on his fastball to get people out for a couple innings.
Good heat, and the fastball for the strikeout. I think David Wells is so much better suited for the bullpen. He's one of those guys, if you make him sit around for 4 days in between starts, he goes crazy.
And here's that fastball away. I agree with you totally, Bob. He looks like a reliever. You know, he has the earring in his left ear. He has a couple tattoos up on his arms. He doesn't care if his shirt's tucked in or not tucked in. You know, those starting pitchers are usually the guys who stand in front of the mirror for a while before they can't come out. And old David, the only reason he'll stand in front of the mirror is to get a better look at the guy standing behind him. And that's ball one on the breaking ball again in the dirt.
Brian McRae will turn around and bat right-handed. Little pitch charting in the Blue Jay dugout tonight. Was Jimmy Key doing the charting. He'll throw against Luis Aquino here tomorrow night. How about this matchup for Wednesday? David Cone, Kevin Apier. David Cone, a Kansas City native from Rockhurst High School here. 3 balls and a strike to McRae, who from the right side this year is hitting .244. Three and two. Better be swinging if it's close. As David Wells, who struck out Thurman, goes after McRae now. David Howard on deck. And a tomahawk shot off the glove of Alomar. He'll make a big turn. He's going for second. The throw is not in time.
The only way you get a double on a ball like that is if you believe it's a double when you leave the box, and Brian McRae did just that. He went hard right from the crack of the bat, took a great turn around first base as the ball deflected off Alomar's glove. There was no stopping him as he went into second easily on Devon White's throw.
How many second basemen even make contact with this ball?
Well, the ball was hit extremely hard. It was the fastball, and McRae's a good fastball hitter. Real close at first base whether or not he touched the base. And I know that Al Clark's looking into the Kansas City dugout to see if anybody in fact saw what was going on. The Blue Jays are too far away, so I think McRae is not in jeopardy.
Only managers notice that sort of thing.
I was told one time, I think it might have been an A ball, that the only thing you have to look at when you're not involved in the play is whether or not the guy's touching the base. Goldie Holt, an old Dodger instructor, told me that one time, and I think during this game I've seen every guy touch the base once I've located where the ball was in the outfield.
Bobby, it's a heck of a thought, because if you're not watching that, you're basically doing the same thing as the folks in the stands, and that's watching the play.
I reckon that's true.
Here's David Howard, winning run at second, 1 out. The 11th Kansas City hit of the night, that was.
And I thought that was very interesting that David Wells used the short leg kick, respecting McRae's ability to swipe third base. He has that big leg kick. Again, a reason he hasn't had a lot of success starting. Too many opportunities to steal.
No balls, 1 strike. There's the runner going to third, and a little chopper, and what a jump he had, and it was a slow breaking ball too.
And the higher leg kick, and to McRae's credit, he picked that out. The first pitch was a real short leg. The next one, he comes up with his bigger leg kick, and McRae had one heck of a jump. He would have stolen the base standing up had Howard not fouled the ball off.
By the way, you folks awaiting baseball tonight, sorry, it's over. If this one ends right now, we'll be joining Sports Center in progress. We've already played through baseball tonight here in the 12th inning in Kansas City.
Just the way we like it.
Yeah. No balls, 2 strikes. Labor Day at the ballpark. Howard getting his cuts.
And Wells giving 2 looks to McRae and using the short leg kick again. Let's see if McRae spotted something on the big leg kick to get as good a jump as he got last time. If Wells goes back to it and he has that jump again, it'll be something to be spread around the league if McRae wants to share his knowledge.
High bouncer to third. Gruber waiting. And he fires over for the second out with the runner McRae holding at second base. Back to the top of the order, it'll be Greg Jeffries against David Wells with the game on the line.
He's a good fastball hitter against a fastball pitcher. First base is open, and Pat Borders is going to go talk about it, whether or not to pitch around them, put them on. Wilkerson's on deck. And there's some damage to be done off the bench, and here comes Cito to have join in that same discussion.
Speaking of that bench, in case they decide to walk Jeffries with Wilkerson due up, they've got Keith Miller, they've got Bob Melvin, they've got a young slugger by the name of Jeff Conine who's had some problems physically, and of course they have the veteran who came over at the end of July for the Dodgers, Juan Samuel.
And the reason Cito's out on that mound is what you're looking at on your screen, was to make sure that Eichhorn was loose if in fact Juan Samuel is used as the pinch hitter for Wilkerson. I believe they're going to walk Jeffries here. I believe they're going to make Hal make the move, knowing he's out of left-handed hitters other than a very rusty Eisenreich, and then let Cito make his choice on who it is he wants to pitch to whom. And here's the intentional walk. I think the fans think that should have been called a strike. They're a little upset with the
You better watch it. Greg Costa's going to find you up here. There's Curtis Wilkerson, who is, by the way, hitting .327 right-handed. And it's not a situation that would require the extra base hit to win the game. And George Brett comes out to follow Wilkerson, who evidently will bat. So his success, this is a real tribute to a guy like Curtis, who all his life, all his major league career has been getting hit for. And in this situation, Al McRae says, "You're my guy."
Now that could be a combination of the fact that both Miller and Shumpert are hurt, and the only defensive second baseman, if in fact this 2-out run does not score, would be a very erratic Juan Samuel, and Hal fails, he'll go with his defense just in case he has to go a few more innings. But we'll see what the results are with Wells against Wilkerson.
Look, half swing. You're always lucky to get a foul ball on one of those. With men on base, you don't want a half swing. David Wells, his first inning of work in relief of Jack Morris, who battled his way through 9. Dwayne Ward, who blew people away for 2. And there's a base hit to left field. Around third base is McRae. Here comes the throw. Kansas City wins. Curtis Wilkerson delivers. And that keeps it a game and a half in the American League East as Baltimore lost earlier and Toronto loses here. Pretty good ball game, Bobby.
Great ball game, and Little Daddy has that soury drive going. Way to go, Curtis. Heck of a game. Great working with you, Bobby.
For Bobby Valentine, Bob Carpenter, happy Labor Day night from Kansas City Sports Center.